Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to SRW TV and the GSRC as well for the third annual MOZA Racing Australian Open Wheel Nationals here this evening out at Phillip Island. I am your commentator and host, Hamish Munro, joined once again by the great Zach Caban alongside and Josh Zuino as well, representing the GSRC. I've been left alone for SRW this week because unfortunately Jack Anderson had some personal things to deal with. He could not be here, so I'm going to have to try and fly the flag for SRW as best I can. But Zach, starting with you, mate, since you so nicely asked me to start with you before, how are you feeling coming into this one? Because Mugello and Silverstone to start out, we finally got it on home soil instead of those dreaded Europeans getting it, and
yes,
and we get it at a circuit which I know personally, if you weren't aware, Sinker has somewhat of a disdain for Phillip Island, so I did have a bit of a cheeky smile on my face when I saw that it was Phillip Island for this event.
Absolutely. A very good evening to you, Hamish. Hello, Josh. Hello, everybody. Nice to be back in business, of course. If you're a fan of the GSRC platforms, we're in the middle of a 2-week break, term on term at the moment. We're back in business on Monday night, of course, for the commencement of the new regular season. But I must be perfectly honest with you, Hamish. I don't think there was anyone within the GSRC platforms disappointed to see Phillip Island come up as the track of choice tonight, because every time we take a race meeting there, it doesn't matter what the category is, it turns on an absolute all-time classic. Tonight will be no exception because, I mean, we know just how determined Team SRW are to wrestle the mantelpiece away from the GSRC, whereas the GSRC would love nothing more than to continue the stranglehold they've got on the Australian Open World Nationals. There's a point of difference that we need to get to with regards to how we're going to go about determining champions and whatnot tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do that very shortly. Qualifying coming up in about 10 minutes' time. But no disappointment from me. You're right, the dreaded European circuits, I mean, take nothing away from them. They turned on an absolute ball terror of a race in their own right. Mugello, the key word of the night was debris. If you've got your drinking glass beside you, ladies and gentlemen, every time we mention that tonight, just take a swig. You'll be very happy and about by the time we finish the broadcast. But Phillip Island, a circuit that everybody's synonymous with. Yep, okay, not everybody loves it, but it usually brings a good, strong presence of competitors to the playing field, and tonight is no exception. You look through that list, ladies and gentlemen, there are 36 cars out there at the moment, and a safety car as well. Hopefully we don't see him tonight, but yes, there it is on your screen, folks. 12 terms. You know it by the famous corner names rather than the corner numbers. We're looking at the lap times. We're thinking if we go green all the way, 44 to 45 laps of racing tonight. There are some of the stalwarts that have achieved great things in open wheel racing here on the platforms of SRW and also the GSRC as well. Tom Donoghue, of course, has enjoyed some great success here. The championship, of course, won by Scott Barchin. We had one of the all-time great SFL seasons in recent memory, Hamish, throughout Term 1. It was a pleasure to broadcast on a Thursday night. They revised the format. They could not have turned on a better show. Multiple different race winners, including Marcus Watson, who's third in practice at the moment.
Yeah, SRW, I think, I said it at the end of Suzuka. It was arguably one of the best SFL seasons that we've run. Not to take anything away from previous admins of that series, but I think if it was a great season in the sense of if you watched it from start to finish instead of just cherry picking certain races, if you watched the narrative from start to finish of how that championship came about, how it materialized across the season, and then how it all completely crescendoed in the end. I mean, it was almost pure cinema, Zach. I mean, it's the little things that ended up coming around full circle moments in that race was mind-boggling how that played out. And the championship went down to the absolute wire. It went into the final round. 3 drivers were in the contention to win it. Giuliano Sinise had one of the greatest comeback drives I've ever seen in a Super Formula Light car. He pitted under safety car, didn't take fuel, had to come back around and pit again to take fuel to then go down the order to the very back. Had to fight his way back inside of the top 7 to win the championship. It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable storyline. It was genuinely a is that clock moment. It was prospective champion Doug Gowans crosses the line at the front of the field. He's won the title. And then before the final sector, Giuliano gets the position he needs, and he crosses the line as the champion. So it was cinematic, it was unbelievable, and it all crescendoed in one of the greatest ends we've ever seen for that series. Coming into tonight, I mean, we've got some immense drivers on board to help try and pull SRW to its first win. We've got the likes of Jordan Mazzaroli, Dylan DeBono, who's been hungry to win this event in both of the previous iterations, Doug Gowans, Danny Davidson,
and was
well.
in contention in the Silverstone one as well.
Yep, was in real contention. Danny Davidson, who's got some great pace, and then our SRW team captain as well, our champion Giuliano Sinise. So it's it's going to be a lot of fun. There are a couple of cross-branded drivers who race in both series, but are representing the other here this evening. Not a lot of open wheel racing happens at this circuit. I said to you before the show went live, in a month's time in May, we have got an AU3 race happening here, so that would have added an open wheel winner to the list. But previously, it's only been Formula Ford and Formula 4 that have raced here, on possibly some Formula V stuff for State Series as well. But the defending champion, Jackson Dial, is in the field. The first champion, Sam Chapman's in the field as well. Will we get a two-time winner, or will it be a new champion? We'll have to wait and find out. It's going to be a fun one, though. It's going to be so fun. I mean, Phillip Island, you mentioned, offers up so much to these drivers, and we were speaking pre-race about the possibilities of safety cars, and even though the cars are built like paper mache, I think the only real possible areas we're going to see it is if there's a crash into the wall on the main straight, or possibly a pile up into Miller at turn 4.
Indeed. Now, here's a couple of things for our audience at home. We've got one of the main wheeler and dealers, certainly the GSRC's main orchestrator in all of this, Josh Zuino in central commentary with us tonight. We look forward to hearing his insights as we go. There's your first live shots of the circuit. Typical Victorian weather. The sun's out on one part of the circuit in the spectator areas and not on the racetrack, so I'm not sure what that's all about. We'll wait and see if we're going to get a dry forecast for the race, ladies and gentlemen, because that could throw a spanner amongst the works tonight. The GSRC contingent, at least, would be having PTSD if we get rain here tonight, given that we had a monsoonal amount of, Noah's Ark type rainfall last time we visited here during the regular season. It was survival of the fittest that night. So they'll be relieved to be practicing in dry conditions at the moment. Jackson Rayhan top of the time sheets in this practice session, which is 3 minutes away from conclusion. 0.05 the margin to Arcane Rider then. Marcus Watson, Scott Barchin. It's a GSRC 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to count our chickens before they hatch, though, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a very good start for the GSRC as we approach an historic 21st season coming up from Monday night. But Hamish, I want to ask a couple of questions. Whoa, jeez, that's Marcus Watson throwing it off the road. Better to do it in practice than in the race. We're going to get the ins and outs of tonight from Josh in just a few moments, mate. But let me ask you this, because you mentioned Suzuka a few moments ago. Was your SFL race there a bit more life-affirming and less processional and boring and snore-like than what we saw in the real world on Sunday afternoon, please?
Yes, it was.
Wouldn't be hard.
When the F1 race, the best thing that happened was two cars went too wide out of pit exit. It's not very hard to get a better race than that. But no, it was. It was. It's probably the most, even though it's fresh in my mind, and there's probably a little bit of recency bias. It's probably the best Suzuka race I've seen for the SFLs.
Yep.
And I think it's it's come down as one of the best finales we've had across the board. So I think it's. It proved that it was a quality race. We have gotten two new drivers in the field actually now, so we're up to 38 drivers. That's good.
There we go. A couple of late arrivers.
Add them to our list. Have they got a doctor's note? That's the question.
Well, I was going to say they might be on the West Coast. They might be getting home late from work or something. Sean Benici, actually, he's joined in. 7 laps in the server in 31st position. Now, it's interesting that we mention him only having clocked 7 laps because he's in Alaska. So it's early hours of the morning for him, irrespective of when we go racing, irrespective any time of the year. Noting full well that we're back in line with the rest of the Eastern Seaboard this week, Hamish. I had to get that one in quickly off the top.
I'll be honest with you. When you joined, Zach, and you were deafened, I did make a mention of I'm now going to take advantage and mention that daylight savings is over whilst you couldn't hear me. So
yes.
But yeah.
And yet you mentioned it to me anyway. But it didn't.
It's a callback to our first time together at Silverstone where I got you on the tear about it. But
Yes, oh dear. And it was all because of Mr. Benici as well, funnily enough, because he was the one that was talking about the time differences for Alaska compared to the rest of America. I do remember it fondly. But what's interesting here, as we say good evening to Josh Zuino, welcome to you, there's a couple of things that are of interest to me. One is, yes, can SRW buck the trend and get one on the board over the GSRC? But two, if the GSRC is to triple up here and complete the hat trick, there's also an interesting trend developing here in which that we see the champion of the series not then go on and grab the Australian Open Wheel National title to go with it. It's been a different driver winning the jewel in the crown, essentially, compared to the regular season in both seasons. So if you're Scott Barchin tonight, Josh, you might be a little bit nervous.
Well, he's got the pace to put it all together. So I actually think that there is a lot of wheelers in here, a lot of guys with chips on their shoulder that have a point to prove, and it is going to be a hell of a race up front. But don't forget, guys, one point that we haven't mentioned so far. Yes, it's all for the glory of the one driver here, and we're here to celebrate Australia's best open wheel drivers. But there's also another prize on offer tonight. We have a teams championship.
Yes, now this is a new addition, and I couldn't help but think, Josh, that this might have been SRW's way of trying to steal or wrangle or wrestle bragging rights away from the GSRC platforms just quietly.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they didn't see our entry list agreed to it. But no, I think it's going to be it's a great addition to the Open Wheel Nationals, and yeah, it's going to make every single battle matter. Every single battle up and down the field. It's gonna make us like just want to watch everything. We've only got one screen. Like, I don't know how we're going to manage tonight, but it's going to be an awesome spectacle. And yeah, I just hope we get some good fights.
Qualifying underway on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. The fight for pole position, but does it mean a hell of a lot early on for bragging rights, psychological edges? Absolutely. But in terms of the bigger picture, 60 minutes is a bloody long way around here, and no shortage, Hamish, of overtaking opportunities on this racetrack. We'll see a lot of 2x2 tonight.
Yeah, we will. Well, we hope we don't see 3 wide through turn 1, but definitely 2 wide can be a possibility down there. Well, if it's 3 GSRC drivers, I do, because it means 2 of them are probably going to be off the road. But
we have seen 5 wide in Formula V through here on the GSRC platforms as well.
Crazy enough to race Formula V, then you're crazy enough to go 5 wide into turn 1.
Correct.
Even if you can get the run into turn 2 as well, someone makes a mistake in front of you, you can then get the move into turn 3. Miller at turn 4, massive overtaking opportunity on the brakes. Even off the exit of Siberia up through Hayshed, down into MG as well. The toughest zones I think of the circuit's going to be those last 2 corners, turn 11 and turn 12. It's all going to be determined how well you can run through MG at turn 10. I think we mentioned debris earlier. There's a sip for the viewers out there. Areas to watch out for the debris. Exit of turn 2 if drivers run wide. Exit of Miller if drivers run wide. Exit of Siberia if drivers run wide. Up through Lukey Heights, down in towards MG. And then also off the exit of turn 12 as well.
Sorry guys, can I just butt in here? There is one time on the board which is already 0.3 seconds quicker than any time that was posted in practice. What in the world just happened?
I would say a potential glitch.
An immense effort. I'm actually just about to reset the timing because one of the fonts are off. When the font goes off, that's when I know that it needs to be reset because it's about to crash on me. So we're going to just do a quick reset.
Oh dear. Rightio. You can follow along live timing on the left-hand side of your screen once it comes back to life, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to see the first of the fast laps posted here. And straight away, Angus Cook, a 1:21.251. Great to have him back on the grid representing the GSRC. One of a couple of Summit Sim Sport entries out there tonight. Jackson Rayhana, Mick Clifton, and now Danny Davison as well. In the 21s early. It'll be interesting to see if we can get back to the Hollywood territory of the 1-minute 20s that we saw earlier in practice. But currently, on the first flying lap, Angus Cook and Guy Leach leading the way. What's interesting too is no one mucked around there. No one wasted any time getting out on the racetrack. They know full well that they can, if it's a 1 minute 20 lap time, that's 3 laps every 4 minutes. That means that you're technically going to get as many as 12 in a 15-minute session, noting that you've got that little bit of carryover time to complete the flying lap that you want if you start it before the checkered flag flies. And through the back section of the circuit we go, and there we go. Giuliano Sanese on top, 121.126. He's got 0.12 of a second on Angus Cook at the moment. And then Oisin Colangello for Team Max Boost. Geez, they've come out in force, haven't they? Injectors Online Racing, Guy Leach 4th and Denny Davison 5th. Jackson Rayhana, who was the pace setter in practice, has gone back to 6th place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 GSRC members, 3 SRWs in the top 10. So just to elaborate on what Josh was saying, and he can further elaborate on what I'm about to say here, we need to clarify. The Australian Open World National Champion will still be acknowledged as the overall outright race winner, right? As far as the teams and the club championship is concerned, there's been a points matrix devised in which every single driver will be allocated points. Cumulative. Chapman punches out at 1 minute 20.911. It's topped by Marcus Watson, 1 minute 20.734. Yes, we're into the 20s, ladies and gentlemen. But anyone punch out a 19 tonight, we'll wait and see. But Josh, I know you've been involved behind the scenes in making all this happen with regards to the points matrix to ensure that everybody gets allocated a points score at the end of the night, and then it's separated over into respective clubs, accumulated, tallied together, and whoever's got the highest number wins the trophy.
Yeah, nailed it. I really don't have any more to add there. So, 20 drivers for each club, and there are 40. Each of the 40 places has a point allocated to it. Obviously, it's a exponential scale heading down from the top, so the higher positions are awarded more. So we're counting down from 60, and I believe it goes 55, 51, so on and so forth, down to a 1 point finish for P40. But yeah, every place is worth fighting for. And how was I 6 seconds off? I lost my mind there for a sec before we got going.
We weren't going to highlight it. You threw yourself under the bus there, but that's okay. I'm with you. 1 minute 20.635 for Danny Davison. You must have been thinking 1 minute 30 for some reason instead of 1 minute 20. But that's all right. We'll rock and roll here. Danny Davison, Marcus Watson exchanging blows at the top of the timesheet at the moment, Hamish. So Danny Davison, he's been a formidable contender without all the luck in the world in both the Australian Open World Nationals thus far. He and Dylan DeVoto right there when the whips are cracking in qualifying, and we know that qualifying can play such a pivotal role in setting up the narrative of how the race might play out.
Yeah, it can. I mean, it's. I don't think we've actually had a winner start on the front row in the first 2 outings of the ALWN. I don't want to claim we haven't had the winner come from the top 10 in both races, because I honestly can't remember, but I know we haven't had the winner come from the front row. So starting pole or starting second isn't necessarily going to be the biggest advantage that some drivers may think. The X factor of this track is keeping your mistakes in check, keeping your strategy in check as well, and making sure that you just make it to the end. The classic trope of buy a ticket to the end is so important here tonight. And I think for drivers on track, and if they want to try and represent their league well, they may want to try and run a more consistent race than a quick race, as De Bono's on for an absolute blinder down towards the line. Is the lap going to be any better for him? It is, but it's not going to be good enough for P2 just yet. So for some drivers, if they want to try and get the team's championship for their league, they may want to try and run a more consistent race to get more of them further up the order. As De Bono goes off at turn 2 and into the kitty litter, and as he drags it onto the track, it's going to shrink the racing line through turn 2 here in qualifying. So it's only going to hinder the lap times now of some drivers with a little under 7 minutes to go. So I think right now, for the drivers out there, it's try and run as consistent as possible. If you can't get the best of qualifying, that's not so bad. It's survive lap 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, and you should be okay for the next few laps, hopefully.
We're more than halfway through qualifying now, gents. 8 minutes down, 6 3/4 to go. Race start coming up, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for you, ladies and gentlemen. Doug Gowan's off the road at the moment, and this is the problem, isn't it? All the pressure's on these guys going into a 15-minute session. And unfortunately, both De Bono and Gowans have lost a chance there to continue to improve, and they've just got to reset and try and go again. Jackson Rayhana improves to 4th now, 1 minute 20.679. Still watching the benchmark. Those margins are extraordinary. The top 5 covered by 0.12 of a second. We are talking millimetres and inches, boys.
I just want to point out the fact that it's now a dead spread between the top 10, 5 SRW, 5 GSRC.
Nice.
That's now been ruined by Adam Lavis, who's made it 6 and 4. Now Anoshin Colangelo makes it 7 and 3, so thanks so much, GSRC, for that. But, I mean, you can just see the spread. It is orange from top to bottom of the separation of positions. There's no yellow, there's no white. It is as tight as it's going to be. Just to give everyone the little insider here as well, that's as big as it normally is, Cal, so I don't know, make your screen bigger up, I guess. But that's also how we get every single driver on the timing tower without anyone getting cut off as well. But to give everyone the insider, so the gold number on the position board is whoever we're focused on, which is currently Jackson Rayhana, as Scott Barton goes round. The gold car numbers of 909 and 13 represents the champions of each league. So Giuliano Sinise has the gold number for being the champion of SRW. Scott Barton has the gold number for being the champion of the GSRC, and they are the faux, in quotes, captains of their teams here this evening. Not that that's worth anything extra, just nice to showcase that they won the titles.
Absolutely. Into pit lane comes Jackson Rayhana to reset and potentially go again. And so to his teammate Angus Cook. They'll be talking strategy in their respective Discord channels this evening. Marcus Watson, Denny Davis and Dylan De Bono, Jackson Rayhana, 2 and 2 in the top 4. And Kane Ryder, who we first got a look at Road Atlanta and then Snetterton in the GSRC equivalent of this series. He's sitting there in 5th place. The Australian Open, oh wow, Fawn Ryder and Guy Leach have jumped up in the top 10 as well. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 now GSRC drivers at this point. Adam Lavis has been shuffled out of the top 10. Jackson Rayhana was the pace setter in practice. Marcus Watson, the benchmark in qualifying. He'd love nothing more than to start from pole and go on to win this thing, and that in itself, as Hamish was alluding to a few moments ago, would be a piece of history as far as the Australian Open World Nationals are concerned. This is the first of 4 instalments of the AOWN in 2025, folks. It's nice to have your company on a Wednesday night. A busy week of sport coming up, boys. I mean, from a motorsport standpoint, just about every major motor racing championship in the world's on this weekend. Supercars, World Superbikes, MotoGP, Formula 1, IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula E, if you don't mind. The Masters Golf, the Fed Cup, the Billie Jean King Cup Girls Tennis in Brisbane tomorrow. Gather round, of course, in South Australia. It is just a magnificent week for sports fans. And we kick-started a night early, leading into the Par 3 contest tomorrow morning from Augusta with the Australian Open World Nationals here. From the gateway to hypothermia, down the main straight comes Adam Lavis, looking to improve on his 13th position. He's been shuffled out of the top 12. He's now reading still 13th. Bare inches, 0.00 between him and Giuliano Sinise at this point. 1 minute 20.97, 4/10 of a second covers first and 13th.
I'm very disappointed you didn't mention the best motorsports league in the world in the upcoming this weekend, Josh. Zach. I'm so sorry. The fact that IMSA is racing at Long Beach on Sunday morning. I'm very disappointed.
True too, yes.
The Grand Prix of Long Beach.
On the support card to IndyCar, yes.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of IMSA. I love IMSA. It's my favorite. It's my favorite international racing series. Compounded with the fact that they do the typical American thing of naming their series international, which is what the I stands for, but it doesn't go around the world. It's only in the US.
The funniest thing is, it's got an Aussie commentating it in Lee Diffie, and we don't get to see his delivery, his play-by-play. We get stuck with the world feed on the YouTube channel. Nothing wrong with John Hindhaugh and co.
I love John Hindhaugh. Absolutely love John Hindhaugh. He is just one of the. If we could get John Hindhaugh and Lee Diffie together,
absolutely,
I feel it would be absolute limbs, particularly. Yeah. So. But I do love it. Yeah, Jake, I would see IMSA's tough, same as WEC. I prefer IMSA personally over WEC, but you know, I'm all for WEC as well. I just love endurance racing. It's fantastic.
And they're of course on next weekend, complementing a big weekend of endurance racing because the Production Car Classic's on around that little piece of real estate west of the Blue Mountains. as well. I'm looking forward to that too. Doug Gowan's off the road at the moment. Off-track alert lighting up here on my screen. Danny Davis and Dylan DeBono still flying the flag for SRW at the moment, and Doug's managed to wrestle his way into the top 10 as well. 7-3 at the moment. You're watching it live on the platforms of both SRW and the GSRC, ladies and gentlemen. And the checkered flag is about a minute and a quarter away from flying in this qualifying session of 15 minutes. And the first shots have been fired by Marcus Watson.
It has indeed. It's also mentioned as well the links that I've put into the live chat of the SRW stream too. The first is to get a live timing feed if you want to follow along with all the live timing. The second is the track map if you want to see everyone where they are on the track. And the third is the event, so you can see who has off tracks, who has crashes, who gets passes whenever they come to pit lane, etc., etc. You can open those on your browser as you watch along with us as well. So if you want to keep an eye on all the inside stuff of the timing and the events and the track map and such, it is all there in the live chat for you to follow along with us as well. As Zach just said, Marcus Watson sits provisional pole position, only 4/100ths ahead of Danny Davidson, who's just come into pit lane. That'll be the end of qualifying for Danny. So is there anyone out there that can now challenge Marcus for pole position? Well, for the SRW side, I'd have to put money on Dylan DeBono to challenge him for that moniker. For the GSRC, it's only really Kane Ryder or possibly Jackson Rayhana who could put the pressure on him, or Sinise, who's on personal bests as he goes up to P8. He can't quite get high enough up the order.
6, 5, 4. Wait for the checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen. 2, 1. Session done. These last laps do count, however. Let's watch. Let's ride them home. This, coming up to the top of the hill, is Marcus Watson. To the top of Lukey Heights and down to MG. Danny Davidson's pulled out of it. This is Marcus's 11th and final lap of the session. Is he going to finish it off? Is he going to come to the line? Or is he going to pull to pit lane? No, he's going to continue on with it. Let's see what he can punch out here as he comes round onto the main straight. He's got the benchmark. He's got pole position by the barest of margins at the moment. Can his teammate Kane Ryder join him on the front row here, finishing off strong? We'll wait and see. Watson's across the line. No improvement. 120.652 played, 120.570. Jeff Adams is up into the top 6. He goes 6 on the run to the checkered flag. Ryder's getting a tail home. Let's wait and see if he can improve. No. 1 minute 21.390 played, 1 minute 20.583. I still can't believe they haven't moved Barney over into the officials part of the real estate. Instead, he's out there hanging out with the spectators and having a lovely old time. Just have a look at where he is waving the checkered flag from, ladies and gentlemen. He may as well be in the ocean. Jackson Rayhana's gone 5th. Jeff Adams. I've seen Colagilo, Scott Barchin, Giuliano Senese and Sam Chapman make up the top 10 at 7-3 in favour of the GSRC. And Marcus Watson has put the club on pole. And I'm just trying to remember if we've had bragging rights in qualifying before, Hamish. You might be able to refresh my memory, I'm not sure.
I cannot honestly remember, if I'm honest with you, Zach. So I might need to do some digging here and look at the previous iterations to see who has had the honours both times previous to now. Maybe that's a little determination for us. Whoever starts on pole doesn't win the event. Maybe there's a little curse on the pole position.
Maybe so, mate. Maybe so.
Quite possibly.
It's interesting though, because for those of you playing along at home, there's bragging rights to be had here in commentary as well, because whoever leads them to green, the club representative, Hamish for SRW, yours truly for GSRC, gets to call the start of the race, and same at the end as well, which is why I've had the privilege of calling the run of the checkered flag both times so far as well. But we're starting on pole tonight, so we'll wait and see if I've still got that privilege in 60 minutes' time. Josh, I mean, it's hard not to look past the calibre of drivers that we've put up here on this grid tonight, but there are some serious threats, particularly from outside the top 10. I'm looking at Doug Gowan's, and inside the top 10, DeBono's due some luck. Danny Davison's due some luck as well. Can SRW break the dominance, the stranglehold that the GSRC have got on this event over the next 60 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long race, isn't it? Yeah, definitely noticing that quite a few guys out of position there. Just look at the two previous champions. We got Chapo, the round 1 champion. He's sitting in P10, and Jackson sitting in P14. So both of those guys will have something to prove and push up the ladder. But
and Scott Barchin, the defending SFL champion for the GSRC, is 8th.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like Jeff Adams, where did that come from? Right at the buzzer, mate. But I don't want to say it too soon, but I'm seeing a sea of blue up top.
I know. Let's have a look at that grid since Hamish has got it on screen. Marcus Watson, Denny Davison front row, Kane Ryder, Dylan DeBono second, Jackson Rayhana, Jeff Adams third, O'Sheen Colagilo and Scott Barchin fourth row, Giuliano Sinese, and Sam Chapman, the first AOWM winner on the fifth row of the grid. Run us through row 6, Hamish.
We've got Doug Youngs and Guy Leach making up our top 12 with Vaughan Ryder and Jackson Dial for the top 14. The defending AOWN champion starts outside of the top 10. Adam Maverick, Jordan Mazzaroli and Dane Snadden with Matt Tesseriero for the top 18. Angus Cook and Connor Nixon will then make up our top 20 with Phil King, Nick Martin, Jason Depp and Ben Brook ending out the page, Zach, as we move on to a little bit more red on the next page.
Yeah, that's true. Michael Adams is going to be there from position number 25 alongside Blake Fitzpatrick. Darren Fay, Matt Schmidtke from the 14th row of the grid. Mitch Noble and Eduardo Zamora make up the top 30. 31st is Nathan Verney, then Tyler Sheaf, Sean Benici, Mick Clifton, and then Tim, Schmellenberg. Schmellenberg, with that one? Schmellenberg, yep. And Andrew Proctor, Josh King, and Kevin Wakefield making up the field there. Scott Jordison is in race control for us tonight, so the GSRC represented in the booth, on the track, in the com box, in the control booth. Race control, of course, let's hope that these guys don't give Scotty too much work. He wants to have an early night, but this is the Australian Open World Nationals, so we know these guys are going to leave nothing on the table. Can someone come from beyond the top 10, Hamish, or are the three guys that you've got in the top 10 enough of an option for you as far as taking the fight to the GSRC is concerned?
Guns out Gowans is going to win this race, Zach. I'm going to make the
From
claim.
11th.
From 11th, he's going to win.
And that's the other thing as well. Right? Slipstreaming, drafting, everything else to be used to your advantage here at Phillip Island. That is a magnificent sight. The red flag, the lights will go from red to green. That was a very quick start procedure. The third edition of the Australian Open World Nationals underway, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful conversion off the line from Marcus Watson and Kane Ryder as well. Running in behind his teammate on the run to turn one and almost running Davison and DeBono out of the road. They have to tuck back in. Hold your breath as they make their way around the southern loop for the first time. A clean start. Everybody safely away. That's good to see. Scott Barchin's dropped 2 spots. Sam Chapman's gained 2. And just that one positional change, third and second on the way up to Miller Corner. Of note on the opening lap. Can DeBono get by on the inside of Davison? Yes, he can. And Chapman's up to 7th on the opening lap as well.
It's a pile up. It's a pile up at Miller, which we expected. Brooks been involved, as is Schmidtke and Fay as well. Multiple cars. There's Gowans and others are around at Siberia. Wow. It's an absolute car crash. An absolute wreck at Siberia. This could be an early safety car.
I was going to say, there's your safety card. Ticked off your bingo card tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Surely. There's more carnage. There's more trouble. That's Vaughan Ryder, one of the early contenders for Team Max Boost out of business. Angus Cook's been caught up. Matt Schmidtke as well. Darren Fay's already on the tow rope and gone. Holy cow, the opening lap here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. We knew it was going to be action-packed. We didn't expect 15 contenders to be wiped out of it. Marcus Watson leads. There's Kane Ryder going to the inside. His teammate's going to take over proceedings at the front of the field.
Jackson Rayhana!
Gone! Jackson Rayhana is spearing off the circuit. He gathers it up, but there's an early blow to an outright contender tonight.
That there... We mentioned it. I mean, don't want to go 3 wide into turn 1, and that is exactly why. As Rayhana has gone off the road, we've got to get some replays happening in a moment's notice for you once this settles down just a little bit. But to give you the update, Brook, King, Gowans, Vaughan Ryder, Noble, Schmidtke, Zamora, Cook, all in pit lane. And I was going to mention it, of the sea of blue that was at the front of the field. Just meant there was more blue cars that could have crashed at the front of the field, and that's what's happened, unfortunately. There has been some SRW cars involved as well, but, I mean, it has been an absolute... There's no other word for it, Zach. It's been absolutely nuclear off the start of this race.
Chaotic, pandemonium, carnage. Take your pick. Every word's applicable to what we've just seen in the opening 2 laps here. My goodness. And no safety car deployment either. So all those guys that have paid an early invoice, tripped down pit lane, count them out. They're done. unless they get a safety car before that next round of pit stops transpires. But by gee, some early blows here at Phillip Island, but you can see the team strategy at play already from Team Max Boost, Josh Zuino. Very smart work from these guys. Kane Ryder, Marcus Watson, happy to help each other along. I'll lead one lap, you lead the next. Let's not hold each other up. Let's push each other along and build this gap.
Yeah, you can see their gap ahead of De Bono here, Josh, can't you? It's pressure's starting to build for them.
Yeah, they're smart wheelers, aren't they? They've the Team Max Boost, they're actually relatively new to the club in the last couple of seasons, but yeah, they've hit the ground running, and they have some big names with the recent acquisition of Marcus Watson. Obviously, Marcus and Kane punching out the quicker laps out front, but it's lots of blue in that crash, so I don't like that.
Let's have a quick look here of the initial contacts. This is with Faye, Schmidtke and Brooke down at Miller Corner. So you see, it was a pure scramble at this point, and there was just that little bit of contact that's caught so many drivers out off that corner. But it was almost a precursor to what was going to happen down at Siberia as well. Josh King, I believe, had to pull it up. But if we just watch him go round a little bit further, I'm trying to see who was involved at Siberia, because that was huge. I mean, you see they're just having to pull it up at that point. I know that Gowans was involved. So what's happened at Siberia?
Contact.
Just the lightest of contact, and round she goes. And I mean, how quickly can a dust cloud get formed, Zach? I mean, that is
split second.
Yes. And we mentioned the debris that can get thrown on the circuit at Siberia, and I don't know if we could pull any more sand onto the track at that point. This was Mitchell Adams in all that as well. He trying to take evasive action as cars were here, there, or everywhere. But
cleaned up.
It's just a wild start to this race. And for the likes of De Bono, he's already now lost a spot to Jeff Adams, who's got past him. Yeah. He's got Ocean Colangelo in behind as well. Up through Lukey Heights, keeps the position as De Bono stays through for now. But it's major. But he needs some backup from Sinise and ironically from his championship rival of seasons past, Danny Davidson, who's in behind him. How ironic it can be when drivers who've been battling for a title now have to work together to win it for their league.
And 1 minute 20.650 for Sinise, the fastest lap of the race already. Have a look at the impact that the toe, the slipstream, the draft is having here already. And down the inside, more moves being made. Colangelo is going to position number 4 on the inside of Jeff Adams, who's relegated now. Adams will try and get him back on the inside. Colangelo says challenge accepted. I'll go around the outside, but Adams will hold sway out of the southern loop once more. Sam Chapman up 4 spots already. You can tell why he is an Australian Open World National Champion already. Not necessarily a qualifying performance he would have been happy with, but happy to stay out of trouble early and be there when the whips are cracking. We haven't had a safety car yet, but watch that guy on the fuel save. If we do, we know that he's well and truly capable of getting up to those old tricks. We've said it so many times before. Denny Davison 8th at the moment. Scott Barchin 9th, and we right on Lobezy Racing up on the inside there, going to P5, displacing Jeff Adams. So Adams had a good start early in the piece and is now on the cusp of losing yet another spot and slipping back to 6th, which is exactly where he started. Sinise up into P5. So 1, 2, 3, still 3 and 7, but it's a very different looking 3 and 7 to what we had at the start of the night as far as the GSRC contenders at the front of the field are concerned. Ray Harner on the comeback trail in 13th. He cannot buy a single shred of luck in these Australian Open World Nationals. Of course, lost out at Silverstone or Magello, one or the other. I'm trying to remember right now.
Silverstone.
It was Silverstone in the early stages too, and wiped out here on the second lap at the island.
Yeah, this was what happened down at turn 1. So, see, in contention here with De Bono and Davison, and just the rear wheel contacts with the front of Davison, and off the road he went. I hope you guys offer them some mower blades on the bottom of their cars. At least they can get some of the weeds for the groundskeeper at Phillip Island. But he's on the comeback train, as you said, back up to P12. He's down 7 at the moment as Chapman gets the job done on Adams into Miller. Sinise's doing what he did all season. He wasn't the greatest of qualifiers all season, but he had great race pace. He was very consistent with his laps. And at this stage, I think, he's on the move. And I know De Bono's on the move too. Now, these guys, they're smart. They're not going to battle out with each other necessarily for the win of the race just yet. They'll let that come down to the end. what they'll want to do is maybe just work together to fight their way forward.
So early stages, folks. We're only on lap 6, but already so much has played out at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. As I said, if we go green all the way, we're looking at somewhere in the vicinity of 44 to 45 laps, depending upon how long that pit lane transit is and how many of them we have to complete. Down the main straight we go, weaving left to right. There's your first 3 wide moment of the night, but it was brief as they make their way down towards turn 1 once more. Davison up the outside. Very nicely done. He goes to 7th. Barchin, Davison, Chapman. Look at them arguing over the same piece of real estate. Jeff Adams is in the thick of it. This is fantastic stuff. Oh, jeez, I tell you what, Jeff Adams nearly had a squeeze job going on there on the inside. But Davison tucks in behind and has to yield for the moment. So Davison in the blue and black, Chapman in the all black, and that white and orange distinct colours of Jeff Adams for you. 2 GSRC versus 1 SRW at the moment. As we say, the points matrix will determine the overall club champion tonight, and at the moment, the higher you finish, the more points you get. So 7-3 GSRC to SRW is boding very well for the GSRC platforms at the moment. But then you look outside the top 10, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that next 10 representing our friends from SRW as well. What we can tell you is that Darren Fay, Eduardo Zamora already out of business. Doug Gowans has got back out on the racetrack after 6.5 minutes in pit lane. So there's his chance dashed. The commentator's curse took half a lap to come to fruition for poor old Hamish. Angus Cook's out there a lap down, so too Matt Schmidtke. We still have 36 cars on the racetrack.
Car 07 has been given a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility as well. That is going the way of Doug Gowan, so that's now going to hurt him even more. Nick Martin, who's on screen, you know, we like to bring out the double view for cameras on track as well. He did send me a message. He's running I'm trying to think what the word is, in memoriam, I guess we'll say, because I can't think of a tribute livery. There it is, for Eddie Jordan, who unfortunately passed away in the off-season. So yes. Showing his tribute to Eddie Jordan there as well. We've also got Angus Cook. I'll find him in the list, find where he is on track. There he is. He's a lap down, unfortunately.
There's a lot of names on the list.
Yeah, there he is. Angus Cook still running around. Now that we have actually got the camera back working again for them, Josh can finally answer the question of the mystery GSRC driver who's out there, so I can title them correctly.
I don't. Is that Connor? Maybe I'm not too sure.
Oh, actually, it might be Nixon. It very well might be Mr. Nixon.
No, we don't often get to play with cameras around down there.
No, we don't. No.
Hamish, so I'm not too sure. Peace and faces. To
I don't think it is Connor.
I can piece names to race cars, deliveries, etc. But
I know Connor doesn't run Fanatec gear, so
yeah, okay.
I love the fact that there is a GSRC shirt there being represented, though. I'm just trying to work out who it is.
Yeah, well, we'll let the chat figure it out for us. You guys have seen who it is now. You can let us know in the chat who you think it might be, so we can label them correctly. Connor Nixon at the moment is down the order. He's been in the wars as well. Vaughan Ryder down 16. We saw him off the road without a rear wing too. But the battle at the front is continuing on. Ocean Colangelo, well, she's got her hands full at the moment with Giuliano Sinise and Dylan DeBono, pretty much putting her in an SRW sandwich at this stage now. She has raced in SRW before, as has some of the other drivers of that team, including Kane Ryder and Vaughan Ryder too. They raced with us a couple of seasons ago just for a few races. But so they have raced around her previously as Sinise now gets past, but she's got her hands full at the moment as the late ring-in for the GSRC, and but running in the top 5, a fair effort from her.
Absolutely. Flying the flag for the girls, as you say, and that's no mean feat in a league, especially the GSRC, dominated by blokes. Obviously, it's in the title.
Yeah, obviously, you look at the title of the league.
Yeah. It is a little bit misleading. You are right, but no, it's great to see. I mean, we are all inclusive. It was just that the name of the club just rattled so well off the tongue. We've had female members come and go in the past. It's great to see O'Sheen adding to that legacy. Down the main straight we go. Dylan DeBono's got his hands full at the moment. It's an easy in behind. So too Colagino holding sway there. Team Max Boost 1, 2 and 5 at the moment. Chapman down the inside of Jeff Adams, and Davison wants a piece of that as well. Jeff Adams and Danny Davison pounce on Sam Chapman and Danny Davison pounce on Jeff Adams and displace Adams down into 8th spot now. Barchin and Leach make up the top 10. Ray Hana back to 11th. It's 2.36 the deficit to Guy Leach that he enjoys. Oh, how he would be rooting for a safety car right about now, Jackson Ray Hana. just to get him back in this fight. We know he's got the pace to be at the pointy end of the field.
Davison up the inside at Miller, gets the job done on Sam Chapman for now as they run up towards Siberia. Car 75-second penalty, incident responsibility, lap 1, turn 4. That one is going the way of Ben Brook. So that's unfortunate there for Ben. He was found at fault for that initial incident, but now he's going to have to fight his way back as we ride on board with Drivers ICAM of Jeff Adams as he sits in behind Sam Chapman and Davison. I mean, it's quite funny how we can get these little mirrored images of battles happening inside of the top 10 here, Zach. We've got a 2v1 scenario in favour of SRW for 3rd through 5th, and then a 2v1 scenario in the form of GSRC with the favour, although Danny is now leading both of them for P6 down to P8. So quite funny how that can work out.
And Kane Ryder and Marcus Watson have just swapped around again and put a lap on some traffic in behind them. It's Dylan DeBono 3.5 down the road. So that's the big telling point here, boys. And we mentioned it early in the piece. Colagilo goes to 4th on the inside of Sinise. And Chapman's back there in 6th, fending off Davison and Adams still. And Leach and Barcham are trying to latch back on. Outside the top 10, you've got Mazzaroli and Rayhana. So that battle's ongoing. Rayhana's not going to make inroads whilst he's squabbling there. Back to 13th, it's Tesorio, and then, of course, Nick Martin and Adam Lavis making up the top 15. Down no positions on where he started. Adam was in the top 10 at one point in qualifying, ended up only starting 15th. Oh, no! In the gravel, not the wall, at Siberia.
So another car has been knocked off the road down at turn 6 for Siberia. How in the hell has Sinise ended up all the way out in the kitty litter?
Let's have a look. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, that says no, there's no contact.
No contact.
Unless it was netcode that ran him wide, possibly. But that's really the only straw I could really,
or
grab
dare I
at.
say it, he was on the not so grippy, the debris riddled part of the racetrack and caught it.
Yeah, quite possibly. As
There's another
Rayhana's
swig
also had
for
a
you.
minor off too. So he's now dropped down in
Another one.
behind Sinise.
And also
Sinise
behind
comes
Jackson
in.
Dahl.
Yeah. So Dial now takes that position back. Sinise comes into pit lane as he leads us down towards the start-finish line. This little 5-car battle pack. All of the GSRC, including Dial, Rayhana, Maverick, aka Adam Lavis, Fitzpatrick, and Snadden at this stage as well. Schmalenberg's now inside of the top 20. He's up 17 positions in an incredible effort. Benici up 14, who both sets of viewers would know from GSRC and SRW. Mick Clifton, who's got the Rockstar moniker for us here in SRW as well. Nathan Verney, Josh King, Andrew Proctor, Connor Nixon down 4, Sinise now down 16 after coming out of pit lane. But it's all being led by Team Max Boost and Kane Ryder and Marcus Watson at the moment. Dylan DeBono is flying the flag for SRW up in P3 at this stage, and how ironic it is, he needs Danny Davison to try and get up the order with him so they can bring the fight to the GSRC at the front of the field.
Indeed, that is true. But Kane Ryder and Marcus Watson, we mentioned this from the outset, boys, just their ability to, commit to a plan of attack, execute their teamwork to a T, and just check out. They knew the task at hand. They knew they needed a buffer between themselves and the rest of the pack. And look at this. It's like multi-21 stuff. It's fantastic. You lead. No, you lead. After you. No, after you. And they're just chopping and changing, pushing one another along. They're just running an elongated qualifying run here as far as I'm concerned. They're not holding each other up. The passes are being executed on the main straight and cleanly. Rayhana back up to 15th, past Fitzpatrick and Snadden, so he'll be frustrated at the moment the way in which his night's gone down the gurgler so early in the piece, and there he is trying to get down on the inside of Adam Lavis. Up into 14th he goes now. Jackson Rayhana on the comeback truck. But yeah, I'm very impressed by the skill set, the teamwork, and the way they've just committed to that plan of attack and run with it, and it's paid off for them so far. Marcus Watson, Kane Ryder. Dylan DeBono, the sole SRW runner with the top 5 at the moment. Danny Davison and Jordan Mazzaroli, the other 2 in the top 10. So again, it's still 7 and 3, but those numbers, those names, those teams have chopped and changed as the night's gone on. And can you believe it, gentlemen? We're already on lap 13. It's gone by very quickly, and more trouble at Miller.
And also as well,
That is a big one.
it is. Just want to quickly mention Danny Davidson's also been given a drive-through penalty for the incident at lap 2, turn 1 with Jackson Rayhana. So he's now having to traverse through the lane. It was a lock-up from King.
Bang.
Oh, the slowest. And unfortunately, it's an interleague crash too. And then
No.
oh no, Matt Schmidtke. Nowhere to
Just
go.
can't buy luck tonight, Schmidtke. And Danny Davison is in the pit lane now as well. You mentioned the big mover of the race so far, Schnellenberg, up 17 spots. That's an achievement in itself, given that he had to drive by 2 roadblocks.
Well, now it's up 18. Oh, no, it's still up
Yeah.
17, sorry, because he lost a position to Sean Panici in the process. So he made me a liar in that sense there. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it, buddy. But it does mean that there's still 3 SRW cars inside of the top 10, including Mazzaroli and Matt Tesseriero. Nick Martin's now on the cusp of the top 10 as well. So there needs to be a little bit more inter-club battling between the GSRC drivers and maybe ending up off the road just to help knock a few of them off the post and down the order a little bit. But we'll see what happens. As I've just seen, Greg Barbas just jumped to pits in the safety car. So something's happened to give us a safety car, and I think it might be Josh King off the road. It is, and that's got big damage at it's Lukey Heights. So safety car. Yep, it is. There's the safety car that we were after.
Well, some were after it a lot sooner than this. Others will be disappointed that it's come at this time. And as you would imagine, actually, the first blunder of the night for Kane Ryder and Oisin Colangelo, they've continued on. Watson, DeBono, Chapman, Adams, Barchin, Leach, Mazzaroli, Cesario, Martin, Dial, Rayhana, Lavis, Fitzpatrick, Snadden, Benici, Schmallenberg, Davison. They've all pounced on the opportunity to jump straight into pit lane, unsurprisingly. And that leaves Kane Ryder and Oisin Colangelo with a huge invoice coming their way because they've missed the cut.
This might be maybe tactical, possibly.
You reckon?
Let Marcus pass, and then they create a wall so DeBono can't get through. Maybe. Just some team play.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a bit of team play for you, possibly from them. Who knows? What it does mean is it's now another SRW car that goes a lap down. Luckily, though, those who were involved in those incidents on the first few laps now get their lap back. So now it's back going again for them, and the whole field is now condensed once again as well. The issue we then have at hand is do we have a repeat of lap 1 down at Miller, where we have multiple cars involved and it's an absolute blow up, or at Siberia again too. So it's a balancing act for them, but they've gotten into their rhythm now. But there's also the caveat of, well, they've gotten into their rhythm. The rhythm's been broken. They've had to take a pit stop. How does this now affect their race, and how does this affect their ability to restart and reset and get themselves going again without pushing too hard too early?
It also eliminates the possibility of running 44, 45 laps. You can remove that from your bingo card now, ladies and gentlemen. We won't be going full race distance because we needed to go green all the way to be able to do that. Hamish and I haven't come up for air in 15 laps, so let's bring in Josh Zuino at this point. What are your observations so far, my friend?
No, I mean, it's unfortunately, I'm not going to say it's Suzuka, but we haven't really had that many battles yet, have we? So what we're seeing really is just battle packs, really. So clusters, and you know, I think I must have scared all the gents into not hitting each other because we haven't really seen any contact from club same club contact. So there hasn't really been too much hard battling, and what we've ended up with so far is just quality laps and the odd battle down the field. But I'm hoping it spices up a little bit soon.
Hamish, I want to make 2 points here. Firstly, to drivers left, cars are going through. Lap cars are going through and unlapping themselves right now. Race control's in the process of waving those cars by. Number 2, you mentioned Ryder and Colangelo. Let's have a chat about that, because I don't know what the maximum range on the fuel tank is going to be. So whether they're relying on another safety car to then dive in and not, cost themselves a huge chance here. They've got to think about this twofold. Yes, Watson's probably their best opportunity at outright success tonight. He's third in the pack. It's Team Max Boost 1, 2, 3. So your theory is true. They might let him through and then just keep DeBono, Chapman, and the rest of the pack at bay. They've also got to think about long-term game, and they don't want to sacrifice themselves in terms of their points haul capabilities and what they can bring to the table for the GSRC versus SRW fights. So there's that to consider too. A few different variable strategies at play here, and a few different talking points for us to feed off and work with through describing the next part of the narrative.
Yeah, I think at this stage, I mean, it's there's the two thoughts. Do they want to get Marcus the overall win and then not care about their points finishes for the GSRC? If that's the case, then I feel that their strategy is hold everyone up and make sure he pulls away and then hope that there is no other safety cars. Then there's also the thought of, well, maybe they are just trying to go for that one stopper and they're gambling that there's going to be another safety car. We went 20-odd minutes without one. It's a tough gamble to go for. And it's probably not the smart gamble to go for either, to try and gamble for another safety car, because it's not a track where you're guaranteed one. It's not a Long Beach. No. It's not a Belle Isle. It's not a Mo Sport. It's a track where there is a lot of runoff. It's Phillip Island. It has a lot of runoff, and we realistically had the safety car because of where Josh King's car was parked. It's fast-paced corner, Lukey Heights, very easy for cars to run wide and hit him.
Broken car,
yeah. So it's one where you look at it from the two sides of, they playing the team game or they playing the league game. I think they're playing the team game at the moment.
Now, on that subject, have we seen a replay of Josh King's incident and just how he ended up in there?
I did show it. I'll show it again, actually. His wheel ended up disconnecting as he came up the hill. So not his actual steering wheel. The wheel on the front of the car had damaged the front right, and then that's what's actually setting off the track. So I'll find the exact moment when he ends up off track.
Safety car's going around one more time, so don't worry about that too much, ladies and gentlemen. You're not missing anything here. The Team Max Boost entries continue to hold sway 1, 2, and 3, and it's what have we got there? 7 and 3 still. So it's still 7 and 3, top 10 GSRC and SRW at the moment. And we'll go through the rest of the order in a minute. Here's the incident.
So you'll see it. You see that front wheel. It's just kind of free spinning at the moment, and then as he kind of hits the hump, off it pops.
Oh,
and goodbye. There goes your steering. You're not going anywhere. So he beached it up on the sand. Yeah, you're just a passenger at that point, hoping not to hit the wall, brakes on. So yeah, I mean, the thing wasn't going to go anywhere, unfortunately. So it's a real tough go for him.
And we must elaborate as well. You guys might be across this a bit more than I was, because I've been chasing up other work jobs throughout the course of the day and getting them sorted. I only got a chance to jump in and have a chat to the boys for about 10 minutes before we got going tonight, which was not the plan at all. But with regards to safety car protocol, safety car procedure, yes, we've got the manual safety car, but there's been a lot of incidents out there. So what has been the rule set put in place with regards to driver to race control communication, with regards to, because we've seen a couple of automatic, tows to pit lane, and then of course we've seen the request put in saying, I can't move the car from here, it's a fast point of the racetrack. So it seems as though there's a little bit of leniency given here.
As far as I know, not so much. I believe there's definitely a no escape rule in place. So yeah, if you need to tow, you need to call it in and request a safety car. So Hamish, I believe I'm correct there?
Yeah. So he obviously requested the tow. You have to wait then until the safety car's out, until race control lets you know that you can tow back to pits. Luckily for him, he has got a fast career available, so he's able to get back out on track, although he can't get his lap back off the safety car because he caused it. So because he brought the safety car out on track, he doesn't get his lap back because that would not be fair.
Not until the second one, at least.
No, as the safety car now pulls away. So if there is a second one, he will get a lap back. Doug Gowans will be hoping we get 5 more safety cars because it's 5 laps down. So there's that issue at hand for him.
Not enough time on the clock for that.
No, and that's now my prediction out the window, unless 32 cars have an incident and end up in the pit lane. But you're off the road. You're in an unsafe position for drivers to avoid you possibly. You request the tow, and then they determine are you in a safe space. He wasn't, so they called the safety car. So it's if he was out in the weeds and in between turn 1 and turn 3, then probably just let him tow back. But because he's right off the edge of Lukey Heights, it's an unsafe spot.
Yeah. Yep, fair enough. Right, let's reset. Let's go again. Restart number 1. Third running of the Australian Open World Nationals. The first of 4 hit-outs between the GSRC and SRW in 2025. Let's go back to work. Kane Ryder, Oisin Colangelo, Marcus Watson lead the field down the main straight. And as though it was pre-planned, Marcus Watson to the inside to second. They've bolted clear of Dylan DeBono and Sam Chapman. Now you can watch the roadblock be put in place. Nicholas Martin off the road with a big one.
There's a big spin off of turn 1. Scotty Barton as well, I think, also had a moment too. He's off the road at turn 2.
Oh, it's Southern Loop. Yep.
Yeah, Southern Loop. So big amounts of debris coming back onto the track when he rejoins. But he's all the way down the order now. Mazzaroli looks to get a job done on Leach. Gets it done. This guy's been one of the hot properties of SRW, not only in the SFLs, but in the supercars as well. Came out absolutely firing in split 2 of the supercars this season, did Mr. Mazzaroli. But we've managed to get through Miller and Siberia relatively cleanly. I speak way too soon as Nathan Verney and Connor Nixon are off the road. So it's a big moment already further back in the field and how it can shuffle things up. But the plan for Team Max Boost looks to be put in at an absolute maximum at the moment. How long does it take Dylan DeBono to get past Colangelo as Fitzpatrick's gone round at MG? So they're going off here left, right and centre, Zach. And the pressure's on now because we're nearly at the halfway point of the race. And if you go off now without a safety car, you might be a bit done.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Car 91, is it, that's going to get a drive-through penalty? That text is very
That's Josh King.
faint at the bottom, yes, of the screen there. Or very small, I should say. Unsafe rejoins, so contact on lap 12. So he's going to get a drive-through. That's added insult to the injury and the fact that he's already a lap down. Colin Gilo goes to third. DeBono, Chapman, Ben Adams, Mazzaroli, Leach, Dial, and Davis in the top 10. So it's still 7 and 3, but again, the names keep shuffling in and out. Kane Ryder leads. Marcus Watson's within 0.35 of a second. Colin Gilo goes third. And Max Booster holding sway here at the island, so too the GSRC. DeBono, Chapman. And there goes as well Josh Zuino. Any hope of the SFL champion doubling up as the AFON? AOWN, I'll get it right eventually. Australian Open World National Champion. There's so many acronyms going on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise. But the Australian Open World National Champion has not been a regular season GSRC champion the first 2 headouts, and it doesn't look like that's going to change tonight.
No, not unless I think the favourite is... that
Ryder and Colin Gilo on pit lane, so that answers that question, that they weren't going to be able to run too much longer. They have become sacrificial lamb in the whole thing.
But let's have a look at the time here. We're bang on halfway through the race, so if we get another safety car...
Yep, correct.
Yes, they could scrape through, so a little bit of saving. But yeah, no, just back to where we were talking. Maybe it depends on how Senise goes. He's probably the only shot. I'm guessing Scotty Barchin's a little bit too far back now to make a play though.
Indeed. Oh boy. It's all just livened up nicely for us here. We go back now, we pick up the guy in 10th place, and this is your hope at the moment, one of them at least. You've got 4 in the top 10 at the moment, Hamish. This guy, he'll be there when the whips are cracking if we get a late race restart.
Yeah, I probably couldn't have asked for 4 better drivers inside of the top 10 who are representing us. Aside from maybe Doug Gowans, these are 4 of our best, as Matt Tesserier is off. No rear wing on that Velocity Racing Team car either. And Schmalenberg's off too. Where is he? There he is at the other end of Siberia. So he's not backed it onto the road, which is good, but they're dropping a heap of spots, and this is going to change up the points just a little bit. I have noticed, though, SRW, though, has now ticked over 400 points. That's a good sign for us. So comeback train is on. The comeback train is on, but not when we have 2 drivers ending up off the road and then dropping down the order.
Keep an eye on that bottom right of screen too, ladies and gentlemen. 5:27 plays 4:03 at the moment. It's taken me until the 30-minute mark to actually even acknowledge that.
I was about to probe you there, Zach. But yeah, so we have a live counter, guys. So that is adding up the team championship, and basically, yeah, it's just counting on places. We'll turn that off at the end, and then we'll correlate the points and announce the actual championship.
That was nearly 3 wide into 1, and we've got to keep an eye on this. That's Scott Barchin. That's seen just cook side by side around the southern loop. Barchin relegated for the moment to position number 20, down 12 after getting caught up in that incident off the safety car restart. Tesorio's come to pit lane. Phil King's still in pit lane, and now there's an overtaking manoeuvre just nicely. Michael Adams on board. Ryder going into Miller.
Yeah, Jason Depp's now hot on these heels as well. Ben Brook, what a comeback for him ever since that incident. Lap 1, turn 4. Even with a penalty next to his name as well. 5 seconds. That was car 25 with a drive-through penalty at this stage of the race. That will be going the way of Matt Tesseriero. So, yeah, they found him at fault for that one on lap 16. As Adams has gone off the road and a wild ride down to MG.
Jeez.
Depp having to take evasive action.
Bottleneck.
Yep, it is a bottleneck. Vaughan Ryder's also off the road as well, so a couple more drop positions for them as Davison looks to get it up the inside of Leach into turn one. Job done for him at the moment. So watch the late breakaways now of Davison, Mazzaroli, and even Sinise if they can get it going too, as Ryder is dropping spots in a scramble towards turn one. So they're trying to pick up the pieces at the moment here, Zach, but it's such a scramble to the end of this race. I mean, we've still got a little under half an hour to go. It's anyone's game at this stage.
And just how costly was the invoice for Ryder and Colangelo? 23rd for Kane Ryder, 26th for Oisin Colangelo. So that goes to tell you just how costly it was to play the tactical game. They've sacrificed themselves, but they've given Marcus Watson a 1.2 second advantage at the front of the field to enjoy over Dylan De Bono. Tactically speaking, that's good for Watson because De Bono's out of the tow range at the moment. Slip up from Watson though, and that all changes, but then again, De Bono needs to keep it slick and clean in the same process.
Well, the worry would be is if the later that we go without a safety car, if we get one right before the end, that's then going to put pressure on Colangelo and Ryder for their strategy if they want to try and go for the one stopper here, Josh, because say they've held out all the way till 10 minutes to go and then they have to come in. Safety car's called at that point as Davison's now set a new fast up of the race, 120.34, he's on the move. If it comes out and gets called, we'll tend to go. Can they make it home from that point? I don't know, as Davison ricochets at Southern Loop into the gravel trap.
Another one bites the dust.
Yep. And you can see the debris that's starting to form there on the outside of Southern Loop right as they come onto the racing line. So it's becoming a tougher and tougher corner for them to traverse as Depp and Cook have now gone off the road there as well.
So the chips are falling. Depp and Cook off the road. They'll try and limp it back on. They do, but this is how it happened. Dive from Depp into Cook, and then they just got in a wheel locked. And Cook's night goes from bad to worse. He's down 6 spots, rejoining 25th. Meanwhile, back at the pointy end, it's logjam behind Sam Chapman at the moment. Jeff Adams, Jordan Mazzaroli, and also Jack O'Donnell there for company. So too Guy Leach. Denny Davison's rejoined in 10th place. So after, more trouble.
Yep, Kane
so
Ryder.
That one was Kane
Kevin
Ryder.
Wakefield
So
and
again,
Oisin Colangelo.
Oh no. So it goes from bad to worse for the max boost entries. They can get it out of there. They can resume. But that problem was brought on by their own strategy play, their own strategy calls. They got boxed in traffic. They've rejoined in the thick of all the garbage. They were avoiding that at the front end of the train. And unfortunately, that has again, for the second time tonight, that strategy call has bit them on the proverbial. Phil King, Mitch Noble, Matt Schmidtke still showing on pit lane at the moment. Kane Ryder coming to pit lane. His charge is done. And Marcus Watson has Dylan De Bono 1.5 seconds in the rearview mirror. Adams, Chapman, Mazzaroli, Dial. It's good to see that there are now 2 SRWs in the top 5. Mazzaroli on a charge late in the piece here. Dial, Leach, Lavis, Sinise, and Davison as well. So it's 6 and 4, and the GSRC still leading that Interclub Challenge down the bottom of the screen, as you can see there as well. So it could be double bragging rights for them tonight, but Marcus Watson has to finish this job off first.
I just had a nice little giggle to myself with Phil Vella's comment in the chat for Team Max Boost. They've missed a real opportunity to call their team Riders on the Storm.
Yes, correct. I like it. I like it.
I like it.
Angus Cook and Kevin Wakefield on pit lane too after that incident, gentlemen. So no surprise there. Very disappointing and Angus Cook's charge. It was nice to see him back on the grid at the very least. 3 wide on the run to turn 1. Jeff Adams, Jordan Mazzaroli, Sam Chapman. Cleanly done, gentlemen. Jeff Adams holding on to third for the moment. Chapman trying to get down on the inside through the southern loop. Have a look at this. Mazzaroli around the outside. There when the whips are cracking. Got to be careful about the debris. We'll get the toe from Jeff Adams, who moves across to give the toe to Chapman in return. But the Mazzaroli's going to have the inside running when we get down to Miller, and then Chapman moved across to cover it off. And down on his side was Jack O'Donnell as well. Brilliant stuff from Jack O'Donnell to go up into the top 5 for the first time tonight.
Just a bunch of, I feel Josh may have been wording up some of the members of the GSRC possibly on how they could maybe try and fight their way forward to get more points with the league here, possibly. Care to comment on that one there, Josh, for us?
No. I really didn't put the word on them too bad. Actually, I just gave them a little talking about how every battle's going to matter, every position. But no, I just want to comment, guys. Look who we got sniffing. P4, P5. Oh, hello.
The two previous Australian Open World National winners. Chapman, Dial, Mazzaroli there for good company at the moment. They're all chasing Jeff Adams 2 by 2 down the main straight. Have a look at this. Does this end well or does it end disastrously? Jeff Adams there, 3 wide through turn 1. We knew we'd see it at some point tonight. And Dial down on the inside. Adams in the middle. And then, of course, Mazzaroli's been muscled out of it. Brilliant stuff. Dial's going through on Jeff Adams. No, Adams comes across to cover it off. It gives Sam Chapman a little bit of breathing space. But Dial, Mazzaroli and Adams take a bow. That's how you go through. One cleanly at the island, but then Adams has brought himself undone.
I don't know if he brought himself undone or if there was actually contact there, Zach. I mean, it was the tightest of margins between him and Jackson Dial down at Miller. But Chapman and Dial, you mentioned it, these guys are the only 2 previous AOWN champions. And I mentioned at the start of the show, do we see a repeat winner tonight? Well, they're the only 2 that can possibly do it. Chapman's come up from P10, Dial's inside of the 10 from outside of the top 10 on the grid order.
14.
So we did say if you start outside the top 10, you have got a pretty good shout at it, and Dial wants to try and repeat the efforts that he had at the last outing at Mugello, as Mazzaroli looks to be the nightmare bringer for him as they run down towards doing corner once again, but giving him no track space as Jackson Dial. It's only a car width between them.
Hold your breath, boys.
Oh, I mean, it's, can you even find any? Some of us made it an oxygen tank at the end of this one, how it's going. But Mazzaroli still yet to get past Dial at this stage. To give the update on Davison and Sinise. Sinise's fought his way back to where he started the race in P9. Davison's fought his way back to P10. But with 20 minutes to go, neither of them are out of it just yet. Adam Lavis is now inside of the top 10, up 7 spots into P8. Adams is down 1. Leach is up 6 inside of the top 10. We mentioned Mazzaroli and Dial as well. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers inside of the 10 that didn't start inside of the 10.
Happy days here at the island. Have a look at this. So just proof of the progress you can make throughout the course of the night by moving forward here at the island. Got to buy a little bit of luck, got to have good racecraft, got to have good race pace. And all those guys have just that. Mazzaroli trying to latch back on to Dial. Leach trying to latch back on to the pair of them. Chapman's got 1.5 seconds of breathing space to play with. Davison still got the fastest lap of the race. Rayhana's 1.7 seconds off the top 10 at the moment. 2, 4, 9 and 10 are SRW competitors. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the GSRC. Leach down the inside of Dial. Oh, up the outside, in fact. Leach is going to P5. Dial slots back into 6. So the pace starting to go from Jacko Dial potentially here and now. Adams has gone through on the inside. Has Dial got a problem, please?
Yeah, he very well might do. I don't know what he would have gotten it from, but he's definitely giving up.
He's
some
dropped 2
time.
spots.
Yeah.
So is that tactical, or is there something a little bit sinister untoward going on? Back down the inside of Jeff Adams would suggest that he's okay. But he's going to be ruling what might have been, because he's lost nearly 3 seconds now on Jordan Mazzaroli. As we go back down the order and pick up Blake Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, we've
pit stops are underway too, boys.
Yeah, we've had an ask to see if he's full throttle at the moment. I don't know if we can really check it. So whether he's carrying damage or a bit less pace, I'm not sure. He's getting to 230 by the time he gets into Stoner. We need someone who's about to come into Stoner to see how fast they're going. Ocean Colangelo, she'll give us a good option for it. Oh, she's nearly up towards 240, so maybe he's a bit off. Maybe there's an issue with his pedal or something, I'm not sure.
Too early to utter the words fuel saving?
Maybe, but I feel like, I don't know if it's worth it where he is on track, because he's 38 seconds off the lead. So, he's not going to get the lead by fuel saving at this point. He's not going to gain enough. So, is it worth it? I don't know. as Deps had to come into pit lane. So Benici and Barton fighting for position here as they run through turn 1. So Barton managed to get the job done. He's trying to come back at this point of the race as well. Angus Cook mentioning his side pod's hurt. I'm not surprised, Angus. You've been in the wars a little bit here tonight. Sinise up the inside of Lavis at turn 4. Job done for him. Colangelo's in, so Shiseo had to commit to the 2-stop strategy, as did her teammate Kane Ryder a few laps ago as well. But, I mean, it's been a good showing for Marcus Watson. Not that we're too surprised by him being at the front.
No,
also for
not at all.
De Bono as well. Chapman and Mazzaroli inside of the top 5. Leach, probably the outside edge pick of the top 5 at the moment, I would say. Chapman wants to get past De Bono.
No.
Was there
It's
contact?
happened again.
Was
It's happened again.
Was it self-inflicted? He was trying to get past Andrew Proctor.
Traffic. Got to be more patient in that situation, I would have thought.
Yeah. The beauty is, though, he wasn't too far away from the pit entry, so he could come straight in and fix the car. The only thing
But
I
it
would
is still a costly invoice.
the only thing I would say is Andrew is an SRW driver. Should he maybe just let Dylan go a little bit earlier? I don't know. Too hard to tell. Too much personal opinion possibly on that one as dial up the inside of that.
It's too much. It's too much of a risky spot. Very rare do you see anyone go through there 2x2. Least of all when you're overtaking lap traffic.
Like maybe
But,
just sit,
that's
sit
unfortunate
to
for
the,
Dylan.
as you're coming down to turn 2, just move over to the right. Sit to the right as Adams has had a drop out. Sinise's kept going,
Oh,
so
no.
Adams I think may have dropped out. We'll see if he returns or not.
He hasn't yet.
You know, I mean, Andrew did everything he probably tried. He probably could have tried, apart from, as I said, just moving over before MG and letting him go. But I'm also under the impression of, you know, when you're a blue flag driver, the driver who's faster than you needs to get past safely. It's not, you don't necessarily have to let them past, but it's a tough scenario. It's a tough balancing act, you know, for these drivers as Sinise comes into pit lane.
This is extraordinary. Just the way in which you just never know what's going to happen here. The incidents on the opening lap were a big telling point of this Australian Open World Nationals. And here we are with just 15 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. We're on lap 31. Marcus Watson leads, Sam Chapman is second, and Jordan Mazzaroli is third. Guy Leach, Jack O'Donnell, Adam Lavis, Danny Davison, Jackson Rayhana, Dane Stanton, Scott Barcher in the top 10. But we are still working through our second round of pit stops.
So Josh has just posted in the chat there. You've done some investigations, Josh, and found out the dial has a throttle issue at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly what, but you can definitely see as he's coming out of the final corner, he was kind of going to 50% odd. It was nearly like a digital flutter. I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, potential hardware issues there for old Jackson Dial. But it looks like he's fighting back into P5, but yeah, he's still 2 off where he was.
Oh dear, so he's running P5, but despite some mechanical setbacks, and that says a lot about the kind of form he brings to the table, the kind of calibre and pedigree. Now, we go back to Denny Davison, chasing Adam Lavis. This is for 6 on the racetrack at the moment, but again, we are transiting the lane with the second round of pit stops well underway. Dane Snadden contributing to that right now. So too Scott Barcher and Mick Clifton and Sean Benici, they're all in. So too Benny Brooks. So this is a critical lap for quite a few drivers now. No safety car in sight at the moment, folks. There has been a fair rate of attrition tonight. I mean, look at the casualty ward. Fay, Schmidtke, Zamora, Noble, Nixon, Cesario, Wakefield, Cook. The list goes on. Phil King, he'll need to get to 75% race distance. He's 5 laps down at the moment. He should be okay. Doug Gowan's is 5 laps down as well, 29th and 30th. So there are still 30 cars in this race of the 38 or 39 at start.
So De Bono at the moment is 34 seconds off the lead. I think normally at Phillip Island for these sort of pit stops, I think it's roughly a 25 to a 30 second drop in the pit lane. So if it's a 30-second drop, that works out better. It means he's only lost about 3 seconds to Watson. as he comes into pit lane. So we're about to see how big it is. If it's 25, it means he's given up now 10 seconds as Chapman, Mazzaroli follow. Leach as well. Dial, is he going to come in? He is. Davison, he comes in. Maverick as well.
Too.
Yep. So this is probably the end now of the pit of the pit strategy. This is the end of the tank at this point of the race. Vaughan Ryder, does he come in? Well, he pitted on lap 14.
You'd imagine so.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. So now we've got to watch as Watson's actually about to exit pit lane. De Bono's coming around the final corner. So there's Watson. How much has De Bono lost? That'll give us the maths. Wow. He's lost a lot.
Almost the entire main straight, Hamish.
Yeah, so it's probably only a 20-second drop then crossing. He's P6. It's about 12. Yeah, so about 25 seconds is the loss in pit lane. So it's a struggle now for De Bono. He really he doesn't need that. And unfortunately for him, we mentioned how the storylines can come full circle. It's unfortunately Danny Davidson that he's nearly come into trouble with, as Davidson's now off the road too. And these guys have had some personal animosity between them previously. And you hate to see it happening, especially on this sort of event. It's wrong place, wrong time.
And look who's coming through. Giuliano Sinise coming up into 7th now. Next target for him is Mazzaroli. So those two guys have firmly cemented themselves as SRW's hopes tonight. They're 6th and 7th. Davison back to 8th. Ray Harner up to 9th after that second pit stop. What a recovery from him. And Dane Snatton is 10th. It is 7-3 still, and it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sweep for the GSRC at the moment. And Adam Lavis has got himself up into the top 5. We're not really surprised by that, as someone that spends a lot of time with Mav in the broadcast booth. We know what he brings to the table as a broadcaster, but also as a driver. Here's that moment again, De Bono and Davison.
He just turned it a little bit too early, made a bit of contact, so that's a little bit of a miscalculation there from De Bono, unfortunately. Nothing nefarious between them on that one. Again, I think it's just wrong place, wrong time. It's up the inside of Mazzaroli, turn 1. So, yeah, I think it's just unfortunately wrong place, wrong time. Nothing untoward between them. He just turned in that little bit too early.
So, positions gained tonight. 10 each for Dial and Lavis, 11 for Benny Brook, and 20 for Mick Clifton, the biggest movers from the SRW side of the ledger. 15 for Tyler Sheep as well. 13 for Sean Benici, 10 for Nathan Verney, 11 for Schellenberg, and also for Proctor. Wakefield and Cook off the road again in separate incidents this time. That's all as far as the double-digit movers are concerned. So Mick Clifton in the box seat to get most positions gained in this race. Have a look at that scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen. 5-4-2 leads 3-5-4. 9.5 minutes to go at the island. And the sun's starting to set at the gateway to hypothermia, or at least the rain has stayed away. The Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit today, as it did over the weekend with Real World Motorsport as well. The Shannon Speed Series underway. Benny Brook and Mick Clifton swapping around, and Brook off the road. So Mick Clifton now up 21 spots, if you don't mind. A late race safety car would spice it up, boys. Jack O'Donnell to third on the inside of Guy Leach.
Yeah, he's got that done. He's got that done fairly easily, actually. It's not much fight coming from Leach there. He's just let him have it at this stage. At the moment, I mean, as not ironic, we'll say, but as amazing as it is, the two previous champions are on the podium.
Yep.
Marcus Watson wants to become the third champion.
We're going to potentially have 3 Australian Open World National Champions on the podium. Extraordinary. You wouldn't have written that script going into tonight. The form guide was hard to write. The contenders list was endless. There were so many people that were a genuine shot at this, but they needed luck to fall their way, and there are a lot of people that will be licking their wounds tonight, and it all started on the opening lap.
Yeah, I think the biggest one out of all of them is probably Doug Gowans. Multiple laps down, can't get back onto the lead lap at this stage. He's just traversing to try and gain points at this point, but he needs GSRC drivers to get behind him, and with less than 10 minutes to go, I don't think there's enough time even for 5 laps for that to occur. So it's becoming more of a fighting or a losing battle for SRW at this point, unfortunately, unless we can get all 8 of our cars still on the lead lap up inside of the top 8. It's getting not to say predictable at this point because we don't know what's going to happen as Lobezy now drops to Mazzaroli and Sinise, but the honours for the actual AOWN champion is still on offer. So at this point, mathematically speaking, I don't know if SRW is capable. We'll see how the math pans out.
Indeed, we will. Just having a look at the clock there, gentlemen, and having a look at this, a little bit of arguing over the same piece of real estate. Mazzaroli down the inside of Sinise goes to 5th. Sinise back to 6th. Lobezy right there, ready to pounce in 7th. So it's now a 1, 2, 3, 4 for the GSRC. Mazzaroli and Sinise continue their charge forward, but it's 7.5 seconds up the road to Jack O'Donnell at the moment, who's swooping on Guy Leach as they hit Lukey Heights. Watson leads 4.3 to Chapman, then another 2.95 back to Leach and Dial. Mazzaroli, Sinise, so Adam Lobezy displaced from the top 5 late in the piece. Jenny Davison, he's got 1 second on him at the moment, and then another second back to Rayhana and Snadden. So those guys are slowly but surely reeling them in and hopeful of making a late lunge. Speaking of late lunges, down the inside to turn 1, Jack O'Donnell on the inside of Guy Leach, and our Australian Open World National Champion from Magello at the end of last year is back on the podium momentarily. Can Guy Leach do something about that, or are we going to create a nice little piece of history here tonight on the platforms of both SRW and the GSRC? Nice to have you along for the ride. For our GSRC audience, it's the off-season at the moment. Term 2 starts Monday, April 14. I'm not normally in the booth on a Wednesday night, but I'll make an exception for big occasions like this. And what an occasion it's been! And Lobezy gets displaced once more by Sinise, going down into 6th position into Miller Corner once more. But look at what that's doing. Look at who's joining in, Hamish. Rayhana's coming back, Snadden's coming back, Davison's coming back. We could have a real dogfight on our hands, 5th through potentially 9th, right to the end here.
Yep, 5th through 9th, 5.5 minutes to go. The scores on the doors are unknown because we keep them a mystery for the final few minutes of the race. So we leave that to give a big grandiose reveal at the end. As I said, I mean, at this point, with the amount of cars left in the lead lap, it's looking like it's GSRC's to lose, being that they have nearly double the amount of cars left in the lead lap as SRW. Who's
it's
that
4 laps too, by the way.
Yeah, 4 laps to go. So for the likes of Gowans and co, they cannot possibly get back onto the lead lap of this race. So 4 laps left at this stage, 5 minutes to go. And for Watson, he's got plenty of time in hand over Sam Chapman, Jackson Dials, got Guy Leach on his heels, Mazzaroli, Sinise, Adam Lobezy still battling it out. They've got Danny Davidson chasing them down, as well as Jackson Rayhana, Dylan DeBono. Well, what could have been for him tonight, after an unfortunate couple of moments, has now found him outside of the top 10. Barton and Snadden, well, they're on the heels of Jackson Rayhana trying to chase him down, but Barton is a world's back as well. But yeah, as they battle on through as well, they're fighting forward at this point. I'm not sure what happened to Jeff Adams, is why he was.
Yeah. Oh no, Dylan DeBono off the road again.
Yeah.
Slips to 13th now. Yeah. This is at the Vaughan Rider.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate for him. So, but Marcus Watson, I mean, what a night on the road for him, Zach. I mean, it's
yeah.
He's 3 laps away from becoming the next Australian Nationals champion, with the 2 previous champions on the podium with him at the moment.
I was going to say I don't know if this is because of the result or whether the energy's just been zapped from you, Hamish, but I noticed that the enthusiasm's waned somewhat as this race has played out. Kane Ryder back into pit lane, Tim Schmellenberg as well. It is disappointing for you guys, there's no doubt about that, because you had some seriously genuine contenders tonight coming to the table here. I mean, 2 of them have wiped each other out late in the piece. Danny Davis and Dylan DeBono. Of course, Doug Gowans on the opening lap as well. This only makes you hungrier and thirstier, I would imagine, for redemption 4th time.
Yeah, it does, and I think it's more or less of like what would have happened if the first lap incidents didn't happen. There might be a lot of self-reflection for some drivers coming into the next outing if they are a part of that one as well. Obviously, it comes down to finishing the top 20 of the championship, but it's not deflation per se. It is, we're waiting for the inevitable at the moment. We're nearly 5 seconds ahead of Sam Chapman and Marcus Watson, so I know what Marcus can do. I've seen what he can do, and this is the kind of scenario where he does not drop the ball. He holds the ball, he runs with it, and he boots it for a solo goal. So at this stage, Marcus is, he's just got to try and trickle the laps down, keep it clean, keep it on the tarmac, and fight his way forward. And for the likes of Mazzaroli, Sinise, and Davison, and even De Bono outside of the 10, just try and pull something in for your league, and just try and get some solid points on the board if you can.
White flag will be in the air next time by the line, folks. We're on lap number 40. We'll have clocked by the end of this race 182 and a bit kilometres around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. So 41's going to be your magic number tonight on the back of 2 pit stops and a safety car period of about 3 laps as well. And Marcus Watson's at the forefront of it. Magnificent performance from this guy. And to be fair, let's be perfectly honest, for those of you that saw that season of racing on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in Super Formula Light, our Wins and Slicks offering, as Denny Davison bowls it off the road again. Jeez, unlucky for him. Outside the top of 10 he goes now at the expense of Scott Barch, and so it's now 8-2 in favour of the GSRC in the top 10 right now. We'll come back to that in a few moments' time. But when you think about what this guy's achieved throughout the course of the last 12 weeks, he was a little bit late to arrive on the scene for SFL. He had a shocker here in those biblically wet conditions that we had at Phillip Island for the corresponding round of the Super Formula Light Series for the GSRC proper. He'll be relieved that it was dry tonight. He's gone to Sydney and represented the club and himself on the international stage with the E-Racer Champions, which is on a completely different sim racing platform to iRacing. There's a case of what might have been with regards to his championship aspirations. There's been a couple of moments where the situation's got the better of him with heated battles and whatnot, but he is a win-at-all-costs guy, and he is going to do that tonight. The strategy play executed perfectly for him, not necessarily for his teammates who've ended up in trouble late in the piece. De Bono, Ryder and Adams back on pit road at very late in the piece, just getting a top up for fuel, I'd say, for that last run of the checkered flag, or repairing damage one or the other. So a disappointing end for them. But this guy, a name to write down and remember going forward, both on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and also on the platforms of SRW. As they make their way around, for some reason Hamish's screen is just frozen on me, so why. I'm hoping you can still hear me.
We can hear you. I don't know why it's frozen.
There we go. We've got it back now.
I think I've been kicked from the session, actually.
Okay, so I'm going to have to call it home.
It's going to be a radio show to the end here, Zach, unfortunately.
I'm used to radio. Don't worry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Watson has done the job, done the damage, and won the Australian Open World Nationals at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. You bloody beauty. The GSRC triple treat, because it's Australian Open World Nationals 3, 1 and 2. 1, 2 and 3 on the podium. And they have smashed the competition tonight. Guy Leach in for 4th, Mazzaroli and Sinise 5 and 6, Adam Lavis, Jackson Ray Hunter, Scott Barchin, and Denny Davison did get back into the top 10 at the expense of Dane Snadden at the very end. But Marcus Watson, a name to remember, very much a case of what might have been. He was one of 5 genuine contenders going into the final round of our series on points. A couple of missed opportunities. A couple of DNSs, 1 non-classified. The difference between him and championship supremacy there. He makes up for that, though, with Australian Open World Nationals supremacy. Very nicely done. A name to remember going forward. And the crown, the jewel in the crown for him on what's been a phenomenal start to 2025. Team Max Boost victorious at the Island.
Yeah, I do apologise for that. For whatever reason, my iRacing decided for the screen to turn black and everything to freeze. When I went to quit the session, it then gave me the option to save the replay and brought it all back, but I couldn't get back into the session at that point. So I've just left and I'm about to rejoin, so we at least have some on-track B-roll at this stage. So we do apologise. Technology can be a wonderful thing sometimes, Zach, can't it? So
tell me. I'll share some stories with you off air. I'll share some stories with you off air with regards to the week I've had. My goodness, I've had to send a couple of rockets in the direction of work this week. It's a wonder I've still got a job. But yes, technology can be a wonderful thing when it works. That's about the 5th instance of it not working this week. But anyway, we'll get those final results to you very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing you must know is that Marcus Watson has done enough to get the job done. I can give you all the way down to 11th at the moment. That was Dane Snadden. Denny Davison did get back to 10th because I'm just literally running off the screen as it's frozen on Hamish's end from STK Live Timing. But a formidable performance, a formidable effort from Marcus Watson. And to add insult to injury as to him not being the champion, I sort of didn't get to make the point with everything that transpired there in the last 30 seconds. The reality of the matter is the guy won more races than anybody else in our Super Formula Light season, sponsored by our great naming rights partner, of course, at the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, the great people at Spreyton Cidar. I reneged to mention that earlier. But Spreyton Cidar Super Formula Lights this season has been extraordinary from our end. And the audience of SRW got an insight into that tonight with the quality that was on show from the GSRC side of things, what those guys brought to the table. They've doubled down on after providing the entertainment, the spectacle of the best ever season of SFL we've ever seen on the platforms of the GSRC, and gone out and run 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9 in the Australian Open World Nationals. Great recovery from Jackson Rayhana to get back to 8th. He'll be ruining what might have been an off-track excursion on the second lap. Scott Barchin, of course, the series champion. Again, another instance of the series champion not then going on to put the icing on the cake, if you like. Just a great night of racing here on the platforms of SRW and the GSRC at what was one of the great circuits to produce, provide such a platform for these guys to do their thing. I think we knew that we were in for a great spectacle tonight at Phillip Island. It's one of the great circuits for any form of racing, but particularly for SFL. And tonight, these guys have proven why. We've got Dead Legend and we've got Sam Chapman in the server tonight. I just need Dead Legend to reveal his alias. And Hamish Munro's here with me for the post-race show as well. Hopefully Josh Zuino will rejoin us as well. And final calculations will be underway. Hamish, there's a case of what might have been right through the field as far as contenders are concerned. I mentioned Jackson Rayhana. Good fight back from Mazzaroli, Sinise. What else stood out as far as the SRW side was concerned, please?
I think the bad luck at Debono continues. A great showing from Tyler Sheaf, actually, and Mick Clifton to get so many positions gained and get themselves inside of the top 15. Just an unfortunate night for SRW and for the likes of Faye, Noble, Tesseriera, King, Depp, Wakefield, Gowans and co. It's Jack Dial, who is a Dead Legend as well, Zach, just to confirm. Thanks to Sean.
And after the Australian Open World Nationals at Magello, he is a dead set legend. Yeah.
Well, I've also just had to pull at the last moment. So luckily, I had some Phillip Island B-roll in my download, so I'll just quickly pull that just so we've got something to look at instead of looking at frozen Phillip Island for a while. So we at least have got something visual until we get the final results up on our screen. We're waiting for Mr. Josh Zuino to clarify that for us and tell us that they've done it. But I think for SRW, unfortunately, it's come down to a little bit of bad luck. The coin flip didn't go their way tonight, unfortunately, namely on lap 1. It was just a tough night at the office for them. And we were on the back foot ever since that point as well. So hopefully, I think if that didn't happen, we were going to be on for an absolute dogfight all the way. I think that obviously did take out a lot of contenders and a lot of drivers out of the possibility of battling for position, which then, obviously hindered the race just a little bit. But, I mean, it was a fantastic race nonetheless. We had I think the highlight for me, Zach, was the two little three-way battles we were having going on in the top 10 for the majority.
Correct.
With, I think it was Sinise. It was Sinise and DeBono against Chapman. And then it was Dial and Jeff Adams against Davison or Mazzaroli.
Yes.
I mean, those battles were probably the highlight of the night for me. The fact that they were going at it tooth and nail for probably a good 40 minutes of that race was absolutely exceptional. A big thank you, I'd have to say. Luckily, I did have this on hand thanks to... I did have this B-roll on hand thanks to Jay Kennedy. So thank you, Jay. I've just had to use it just so then we have something visual going on the screen at this point. So big thank you to Jay Wilco, who just pointed out. So thanks, guys. yeah, just trying to scramble to get us something on screen at the moment. So, but we've got our podium finishes in the room, and they're all from the GSRC.
No, yeah. It's the first time that we've had a podium lockout from any given club in the Australian Open World Nationals as well. Quite an extraordinary performance. We'll get to the boys in just a moment. But on the way there, can we just acknowledge the people that support us on the platforms of the GSRC as well? We'll pay the bills right now. They, of course, include Spreyton Cidar, Waste Options, Trophy AI, Orbic Australia, Bowen's The Builder's Choice, JJZ Constructions, that's Josh Zuino, of course, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. And if you are tuning in at home and want to get involved in the thick of the action with regards to what these guys do and how they go about it, and get out there and amongst it with them, race.tgsrci.com is where you need to go. We'll have the results with you very shortly. Of course, we're still waiting for someone to send the official result sheets through, because ours is blown up when Hamish was punted from the server a few moments ago. But it is a GSRC 1, 2, 3, and I will go in 3, 2, 1 order. And now it's an Australian Open World National winners podium as well, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with Jack O'Dyle. We believe, mate, good evening to you. We believe bad luck, though, because you were having some throttle issues. We're reliably informed.
I don't think I did. Not to my knowledge. I think it was just a case of what could have been tonight. Got set back in quali, having draft issues, and draft is pretty key to getting onto the top 10. And then from there, pushing from 15th up into the top 10, getting binned at turn 2 and having to do it again. So to go from 15th up to the podium twice, definitely can't complain.
Well, this is true. There was one moment there where we sort of had raised eyebrows, mate, and I think it was coming out of the main straight, heading down the main straight, heading towards turn 1, and there were a couple of blokes that just breezed on by you as though you were standing still, and that's not like you. And that was when our ears kind of pricked, and we were like, what's going on here with Jacko? Was it just that you had some issues with the car, the setup?
I think, to be honest, it was all just draft, mate. The draft was insane. There was a few drivers where I definitely had a couple attempts throughout the lap, and they just gain it back into turn 1 every lap, and it made a really hard race when you dropped off the pack, because it was a situation of what do I do here? There is literally nothing I can do.
Off the road on a couple of occasions, but as you say, fought back well. That says a lot about the skill set of you as a driver and the racecraft and everything else that you bring to the table. Case of what might have been for a few blokes around you, of course, but you've got to be in it to win it. You had to buy a little bit of luck early in the piece as well, because you were probably not as far up as you would have liked to have been in qualifying, and there was plenty of garbage to try and avoid on the opening lap.
Yeah, that's it. And to be honest, mate, it was an awesome race. There was so much battling. It was probably the most excitement I've had in that car. So, big congrats to Mark and the boys. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Can I just ask, how excited were you when they announced Phillip Island as the venue for this event, mate? I mean, I was relieved for you blokes, at least, that it was dry this time round, given the amount of water that we left behind. It was flooding in off the ocean. The last time we visited Phillip Island in these cars, it was dry tonight. That was a relief to all and sundry, particularly our race winner. We'll get to him in a moment. But what a great result for you to back up the Australian Open World National success at Magello with another podium.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I saw the track choice and I was pretty excited. It was a track that a lot of people could show their skill set at. You know, a lot of people didn't have to do too much practice to get up to speed. And we kind of saw that in the race of how close the times were within the top 15. So, yeah, brilliant racing. Very keen for the next one.
Any sort of idea on where you'd like to go racing in the Australian Open World Nationals next time around?
I'd like to see Bathurst, to be honest. I think that'd be a pretty cool track to battle at.
I don't think Chapo would share your enthusiasm on that after our
Chapo.
Yeah, no, yeah. We'll get to Chapo in a few moments' time. Been a big season for you, mate. I mean, obviously, it's well documented. You've changed camps between the start of turn 1 and the end of it. So let me ask you a couple of questions here. What have you made of the season as a whole? This is obviously a nice way to finish it. And how do you now spend the next 96 hours or so to regroup, reset, and get ready for Monday night to go again?
Yeah, it's been a season of changes for me. Got my win against Dench in the GT3s to kick this last season off, and it kind of just all spiraled from there. Got picked up by the boys at Orbic there. Big shout out to them. It's been pretty incredible driving with the likes of Denchi, Connor Nixon, Dyson Broad, Harry, all those boys. So yeah, really looking forward to season 2 of Gents, and looking forward to coming back here for the next lot of the Open Wheel Nationals.
Guy Leach gave you a fair bit of grief in the final stages there, mate. It was a cracking scrap between you guys, but you did your best to hold him off.
Yeah, look, big shout out to him because he did let out coming into the last lap on turn 1, and considering I coughed over the line, I think he would have had me if he didn't do that. So yeah, great racing from Guy. That was good stuff.
Indeed. Our mate Josh Zuino will be back with us before we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, and he'll have the final points and everything else. But given that I think it was 7-3 in the top 10, the boys of the GSRC looking pretty good as far as the double whammy is concerned. Jacko, the rest of the stable tonight, mate, I mean, bad luck for Connor Nixon again.
Yeah, it definitely was. And it was a shame we couldn't get Aiden here. Yeah, work came in the way, unfortunately. But yeah, Connor, as per usual, having a couple shunts, not getting too lucky. It would have been cool to see him battle his way through the top 10. I think he really picked up the pace tonight when we hopped in the practice session. But I'm sure he'll be out next time.
There is a subtle drive-by from Race Control putting a memo through to everybody. Yes, it is.
That was me, actually, Zach.
Oh, that was actually you.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
yeah.
so very nice. I like it, Hamish, getting in on the act. I thought it was a Race Control memo coming through. I thought Race Control being GSRC's one and only Scott Jordison, I thought he might have been all over that. No, thank you for the clarification. More from Hamish in a few moments' time. Australian Open Wheel Nationals champions, ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, and 3. Well done to you, Jack O'Donnell. Congratulations, mates. Look forward to seeing what you bring to the table in term 2. And of course, when we get back to the Australian Open World Nationals, either late June or early July, mate. Enjoy the next few days off, and we'll see you Monday.
Definitely, mate. Thank you. And shout out to our sponsors, Hybrid Tune, Demon Tweaks, Nkosi, Hybrid Racing Solutions, Simulations, and Revolution Race Gear. Cheers, boys.
Now, neither Hamish or I have enjoyed our evening meal yet, so it's going to be a late supper for us when we sign off here in a few moments' time. But before we do that, we've got Sam Chapman and also Marcus Watson to get to. What a season it's been for Watto, and this is the crowning moment as far as I'm concerned. I'll be interested to get his thoughts on that. But Chapo, let's sort through the night that was with you, because it was quite interesting to see. Obviously, you were disappointed that you let the championship slip out of your grasp this term. That boded well, actually, for Australian Open World Nationals night, given what we know about champions converting into being Open World National champions. It hasn't happened yet. Scott Barchin, of course, falling foul of that tonight as well. But talk us through it from your standpoint, because you were the big mover in the early stages.
Yeah, I got a pretty good start, and was able to move through. I think I gained about 4 positions in the first few corners, just picking the right spots, which I was pretty happy with, and then found a really good dancing partner with Jeff. We were in comms together, so that was really handy for us. Just swapping back and forward when we needed to. We weren't pushing, super hard. Once again, I was trying to take in the strategy that I took into the first Open Wheel Nationals, which was just run at your own pace. Don't do anything silly, and you can start pushing towards the end. So that's pretty much what we're doing. Obviously, the safety car brought us back into it, which was great. But we then did lose a little bit to the guys ahead, but they also had pit issues and that sort of thing to go with it, as seems to happen within these races. So that all thinned out. Unfortunately lost my dancing partner. He was dive bombed by a teammate, so that's interesting manoeuvre. And then was disqualified accidentally. So unfortunate for him. Pretty good night out, and obviously wanted to get on the top step. Yes. I tend to be an expert at silver medals here this season. So.
Okay, hey, hang on. Back up a moment, right? Well, yes, yeah, you are the perennial bridesmaid. You are right in throwing yourself under the bus there. But who got disqualified accidentally, please? I missed that memo.
Jeff Adams.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah,
We thought it was a packet loss. We didn't know what the hell had gone on.
Nah, unfortunately, RC accidentally DQ'd him and kicked him from the server. So he just disappeared. Poor guy. So
And he was having a terrific run too. He was inside the
absolutely.
top 10.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Very unlucky for him. But I just want to remind people at this point in time that it was accidental. More so to the point that it was one of our own in the race control. So we've given SRW a little bit of a free kick there.
No, you can't claim that we were playing games on the other side.
Absolutely not. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a few things that go down in folklore tonight. That included, I feel for Jeff Adams because he brought some terrific pace to the table. Only one safety car. Did that surprise you a little bit?
Maybe. Like I expected one earlier on. I didn't realise there was going to be an avoidance of them earlier on. But I was relatively content that there would be one, just given the nature of the circuit and how these cars race, and everyone knows each other, and there's one race, blah 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 blah, the standard story. But yeah, once that happened, I was, I knew it was probably 50-50 that there'd be another one, but definitely not confirmed. So needed to keep up with those guys ahead, and then just with bits and pieces, happening in between, and actually the guys pitting in sort of got rid of that train, allowed Marcus to build that gap a bit, and once we were sort of, my tyres had warmed up from the pit stop, we were very, very similar on pace, but not enough for me to go after him. And, he was probably managing at that point as well. We know how fast he is.
Indeed. Now, I'm being reliably informed that the maths have been done with regards to the team's championship. We'll hear from Josh Zuino as soon as we've heard from Marcus Watson. But Chapo, I mean, which would you put more weight on? You've had success at club level in the GSRC. You're an Australian Open World Nationals winner. You're now an Australian Open World Nationals runner-up. You've got 2 podium finishes out of the 3 starts here. Which carries more weight as far as you're concerned? The one-off, the all-in, or the 10-week campaign?
Oh, I think the one-off, really, because that's the one I've won. But I guess the other thing with the one-off is you've got a whole different group of guys. You've got the top 20 from each side. You've got 40 cars out there. It's you've got an entirely different group, and particularly that one-off. Yeah, and it's also the aspect that you're fighting for the club, and that was the other reason why I wasn't pushing too hard early on. We had a lot of guys up front, and a lot of guys, in a very good position. And, it's not what it was, when I did it and when Jacko won it. It was a team's championship. So there wasn't going to be any point in doing, silly things and potentially taking out a teammate for the glory. It was, it was getting out there and ready for the club. So, and it looks like the numbers are very much in our favour, which is great to see, because I'm not 100% convinced that would have been the same for the other 2 Open World Nationals.
Correct. And I did ask the question as to whether or not that was a tactical introduction to the Australian Open World Nationals calculations to assist our friends at SRW, who have dominated the top 10 in previous outings, to get them across the line as far as bragging rights were concerned. It wasn't to be for them tonight, but that's not to say that they won't bounce back with vengeance somewhere down the line later in the season. I know it's been busy at committee level getting ready for the new campaign, mate, but how are you shaping up for when we return to normal programming starting Monday night?
Yeah, slowly. I haven't been in the sim as much. As I've been telling you, work is ruining my sim racing career at the moment, unfortunately. Correct. So I'm actually pretty happy with the result tonight, given I wasn't able to get huge amounts of practice in or anything like that. So yeah, I think I'll be shifting up next season, Zach. I'm gonna move away from my normal favourites and might focus on the main course, a couple of the main course series in the GT3 and the Porsches, and drop the other 2. So that's the thought process at this point.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see if that does come to fruition. I won't forget in a hurry how quickly your arm was twisted into lining up at Magello in the Porsches only a couple of weeks ago. And I know we've got Magello on the agenda again in our main course offerings this coming term. In fact, for everybody tuning in at home, I'll quickly run through that before I throw back to to Hamish, of course, what we've got coming your way starting Monday night. I won't run through the whole suite, of course, in terms of venues, formats, etc. Just the offerings, the championships that are going to headline each night of the week for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Our 21st season coming up on Monday, April 14. I won't be there on that occasion, unfortunately. I've got family obligations in Newcastle. My sister is bringing a little boy into the world, and I need to be there to say hello to my new nephew. I just fear, though, gentlemen, that the parking situation at the Newcastle John Hunter Hospital, I won't meet the boy until he's 3. But that's another story. Now, Chapo, anyone you'd like to thank on the way up?
Well, thank everyone in the chat. We had a decent group of us in the chat tonight, so we were able to form a little bit of strategy, and particularly with Jeff, as I said, we had a bit of a dancing partner there. You've already gone through the GSRC sponsors, so
Yes.
Thank you to all of them that keep us on air. That's of great benefit, and everyone who organised this, Josh, Dougie, all these sort of guys. This has been a really fun event for everyone to take on. So that's great, and then of course the Vermilion esports sponsors and Race Labs, Beb Design, Supernova Motorsports, Hymo Setups, Vermilion X Coaching, and thecartshop.com.au.
Now, being an Adelaidean now, are you embracing the vibe of Gather Round this week?
I am actually, Zach.
Good boy.
I've managed to score myself tickets in a box on Saturday, so I'm very excited about that.
Excellent! Two bottom placed teams in each game taking on one another on at the Adelaide Oval. That'll be terrific, riveting.
Yeah. I can only assume, given they still have box tickets for me, Zach.
Yes, 11th versus 17th and 16th versus 18th. I think it is. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, maybe the AFL needs to just announce the schedule of that one once they know what the ladder looks like after the preceding week, and headline the blockbusters accordingly. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've got a mate that's a Western Bulldogs fan blowing up about losing his pride of place prime time Saturday night at the Adelaide. It doesn't matter. One last one from you, Chapo. You mentioned the inter-club battle here. The chance to go toe-to-toe with the SRW boys. How much did you enjoy that aspect of it? I know you didn't get to do much of it tonight because, incidents saw them out. But there are some really seriously good whip crackers here, and we've seen them on our platforms as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised by, I guess, how well the GSRC did. Is particularly in that qualifying, we were able to get, I think we had about 7 out of the 10 cars in qualifying there in that top 10, and that just set us up for the rest of the race. And in that top 10, the SRW boys mostly found themselves on their own when we were often able to fight together. So absolutely, obviously relish the opportunity to come up against them. I love having a massive field with a whole bunch of different people, and it's a pity that there probably weren't as many up the front as we expected, but we've also really expanded the I guess the skill level of our own lineup, and guys like Scotty Barton who won the championship, and the other guys that came in later on in the season, OCR and Giuliano, all those sort of guys make our lineup look probably a lot more impressive than what it was. So I was hoping for probably a bit more of a fight with them. We had a bit of a fight with Dylan, had a bit of a fight with who else? There was a few others in there as well, but they did seem to see themselves out, unfortunately, but fortunately for us. So we'll take the dubs however they come, Zach.
And it's a W. It's a double W tonight. There's no doubt about that. Get on out of here, Chabo. Go get some sleep. Go and celebrate with the rest of the crew. Well done. We'll see you. Well, I won't see you Monday night, but the rest of the crew will. And I look forward to having a chat to you next Thursday.
Cheers, mate, and congrats, Watto. Great run.
Absolutely, it was. Let's bring him in. Race winner, Nationals winner, GSRC represent, ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Watson. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him take the checkered flag. At least we were able to call it because we hadn't lost timing by that point. But Marcus, congratulations to you, mate. The crowning moment in what was a pretty big season for you. We mentioned the success that you've enjoyed, on the international stage with the E-Race of Champions. You were the winningest driver in the Super Formula Light field, albeit without the success of actually winning the championship. To DNRs, of course, worked into your favour in terms of the way we run the points matrix, but non-classified here at the island, ironically enough, was enough to see you out of contention. But how nice to secure redemption tonight and do so in such a convincing manner, mate, and join Jacko and Sam as and Chapo as an Australian Open World Nationals champion, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a awesome feeling. Awesome feeling. The whole race, I was just waiting to the end. I wanted the race to finish faster, but it was an awesome race the whole way out.
I must say, there's a couple of things here to discuss with you, mate, because it was very clear in the early stages that you and Kane Ryder had a plan of attack and you were executing it beautifully. You got yourselves to the front, you put some distance between you and the chasing pack, you gave yourself that buffer, that breathing space that you needed, and you were happy to just, you lead one lap, he leads the next lap, push each other along, and it worked.
Yeah, as soon as we started doing that on the second, third lap, we weren't in the same Discord call, but it's like we were communicating to each other that that's what we wanted to do, and we both understood, and it was working. So I would have done that the whole race with him, and it would have worked out. It was working really well. I say disappointed a little bit when he didn't pit and he got shuffled all the way to the back, because I could have just stayed with him the entire race.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, thanks to Josh Zuino as well, who's about to see himself out. A big thanks to him from the GSRC standpoint. He's up in 6.5 hours for work and other things, but JJZ Constructions. But massive props to him from our side, organising in collaboration with the SRW boys this magnificent event once more. We look forward to seeing Josh on a more regular basis on the platforms of the GSRC when Term 2 gets underway on Monday night. Sticking with you, Marcus, it was interesting, actually. We were talking about strategy in the safety car intervention, and your two teammates essentially building a barrier for you. As how we looked at it, we thought that they were going to put up the wall of defense to give you the breathing space that you needed to skip away at the front. That quickly ended because they ended up coming into pit lane. That did them a mischief later on because they got caught in traffic and then caught up in incidents consequently. From a strategic standpoint, did the team get that one wrong in terms of all not pitting at once, or what was going through the mind and the thought process when the safety car was deployed?
I'm not too sure. I mean, everyone pitted. I'm sure they had a logical reason for why they didn't pit at the time, but I wasn't communicating with them, so I wasn't sure what they were going to do. I knew that I wanted to pit, and I told myself that what I wanted to do, and I was going to take tires at that point in the stop. And yeah, I was just very surprised when I was watching my rearview mirror and saw them not coming into pit lane. And that pit lane was terrible. I almost binned it both times coming into the pit lane. I dropped a wheel on both sides of the track both times.
Indeed. But in saying that, a small, minuscule, incident that didn't impact you at all in the long run, mate. I mean, there were a lot of other big incidents out there on the racetrack tonight, none involving you. Obviously, you would have been on for a 1, 2, 3 there at one point for Team Max Boost, but I mean, take nothing away from Kane and O'Sheen as well. I mean, the credentials that they bring to the table, the pace that they brought to the table tonight was seriously impressive, and you guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with going forward.
Yeah, 100%. They were super quick, and practicing the last week or two with them has been a massive help for me. I mean, obviously, just recently joining Team Max Boost, just being basically by myself before, especially racing open wheelers. So it's been a big helping hand for me, being able to practice with those guys, and they are super quick. I mean, if Kane and OC didn't mess up their strategy, maybe I wouldn't have even won. So, but it would have been really, really cool for Team Max Boost to get a 1, 2, 3. But hey, maybe next time.
Hamish mentioned it during the call of the closing stages, mate. You don't muck up when you're in that situation where you've got clear track ahead of you, you've got breathing space. You just zone in and go. You knuckle down, you get the job done, you tick the box, you move on. We know your win at all costs, mentality, the way you go about your business. It's very impressive. How relaxed were you in the closing stages, knowing that you didn't have to worry about anyone around you hassling you and the potential of fighting in battle and potentially getting tripped up?
I was holding my own pace throughout the entire race. Even when I was up the front with Kane, I was not. I didn't really push super hard throughout any of the race because I wanted the tire to last. I know from past experiences, one lockup or big moment with this tire and it'll ruin your whole stint. So I just wanted to make sure that I didn't make any mistakes. So I was just making sure that I was going fast enough, but I wasn't over driving or over pushing it. I did start to pick it up when I think it was Dylan was closing in on me towards the end, but then he got taken out by a lap car. So
Yep.
then I slowed it down a little bit again, and I was just holding a nice 4.5 second gap to Chapo, and even when he would get down to like 4 seconds, I wasn't too fast. Like I was kind of thinking about nothing throughout the whole race. It was a little bit boring at the end, I do say, but it would have been cool to do some racing, but I can't really say anything about just winning like that. It was a good race.
Yeah, and absolutely. And it's a big winning margin. It belongs to you, and that's credit to the way you went about your business tonight. And obviously, the fact that you were able to breathe easy when even as you were saying, that gap might have been fluctuating a little bit, but it would have taken a lot more for you to be panicking in any way, shape, or form, because 4 seconds is a huge margin around here when you look at how tightly the field was bunched in qualifying, mate. I don't want to hold you up too much longer. Hamish and I are still, we we get to have dinner. It's been a long day. But what does this mean for you, given everything that's played out in your world over the last 2 months, to have this now in the CV? And the chance to come back and defend the crown in 13 weeks' time or whatever it is that we reconvene, and to lead home a GSRC 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, case of what might have been for your 3-team Max Boost teammates. They'll regroup stronger for that. But for you as an individual, that's got to be up there on the list of accomplishments this term, and there's been plenty of them.
Yeah, it's definitely right up there. It's been an awesome experience. I definitely will be back next time. And this is just fuel moving forwards for the new season of the Gentleman Sim. I'm really looking forward to that. And anything coming up, I mean, good results like this just sits with me nicely. It gives me a good feeling. So moving forwards, I'll definitely remember this one. I'll be watching the stream back heaps of times. But no, it's definitely fuel moving forwards.
And you mentioned GSRC term 2. Where we're going to see you popping up and gracing us with your presence, please. No doubt SFL on a Thursday night, but what else?
I have actually looked at all the new cars and I have a lot of them. I'll be doing everything that I like the tracks at. I want to do more GT3s this year, and now I want to do a lot more GT racing. Probably not as much GT4s, but if it's at a cool track, I'll obviously do it. And I
Yes.
see the TCRs are in there, and
Yes.
the I think V's or the other one, the Ford is in there. So I'll get amongst all of that. I love any kind of racing on the platform is always fun. It doesn't matter what car it's in, and it doesn't matter when it is. I was racing years and years ago in the Gentleman Sim, and it's the same thing. It's always good fun, no matter what it is.
Indeed, it is. Right, mate. Who would you like to thank personally, team wise, etc., on the way out here? Because we're about to wrap this one up.
Obviously, I'd like to thank Team Max Boost. They've been a massive help with me getting fast for this race and preparing, and especially Kane for the help at the start of the race. Obviously, that was a big race maker. So Team Maxpos, my family, my brother, my mum, my uncle, my dad, they're all big supporters. So I really appreciate them, and of course the gentleman sim. I couldn't do it without them.
Go and celebrate it, mate. Congratulations, well done. And another notch in the belt in what is going to be a belt full of notches, the way you're racking up achievements at the moment. We look forward to seeing you on track next term, mate. Hopefully more individual success in our full season offerings to complement what is now a list packed full of GSRC talent on the Australian Open Wheel Nationals honour roll, mate. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Hamish is still here because you're seeing the pictures. He's taken on the producer-director role of the post-race show. But we've got a bit of business to get to, mate, before we wrap this one up. First one, I know we're going to go through the outright results in just a moment. Josh Zuino has punched those numbers before he's seen himself out the door. We do have the outright, not just the points difference between GSRC and SRW, but also, of course, the overall finishing order as well. That has come through. But just before we go, I want to make mention of what I was just talking to Marcus about, and that is what's coming up on the platforms of the GSRC. It starts Monday night. No change there. GT4 into GT3. The only thing that changes is we're going to start 15 minutes earlier. So it's going to be 7:25 Eastern Standard Time and 8:25 Eastern Standard Time for 7:30 and 8:30 starts, respectively. An Italian double on Monday night. The GT4 is from Imola and the GT3 is from Magello. Wednesday night, a change there as well. The NASCAR trucks are out. The NASCAR ARCAs are in for Orbic Australia from the Auto Club Speedway in California, and then on to the supercars from Donington Park National for 40 minutes. Thursday night, yep, the more things change, the more they stay the same. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So Spreyton Cidar Super Formula Light, direct from Mobility Resort Motegi. Sprint racing there first up. Porsche Cup from Imola, second up, 40-minute race. And that is also starting 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Friday night, we're going all open wheel, ladies and gentlemen, from LMP2 and Le Mans Hypercars into Spreyton Cidar IndyCar and Formula Ford as well. Virginia International North first up for Formula Ford, Sandown for the IndyCar. Friday night motorsport back in business, and a sense of normality about it with the IndyCars returning. So we're very excited about that. A full new season on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club launching on Monday night. Three very happy men there, Hamish.
Yeah, I mean, how could they not be? You know, absolutely chuffed, I'm sure, at this point. The fact that they've managed to get us again, I think, is obviously that's the main ticket for those guys and for the GSRC too. But I mean, the fact that all the podium are AWN champions now, at least, you know, is an extraordinary effort from not only Watson to win his first, but for Chapman and for Doyle to get on the podium as well, is an exceptional effort. Again, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely exceptional effort from them. Before we get into the results on the SRW side for next season, starting April 29th, 2025, with the Warren Brown Tours V8 Supercars Championship or Supercars Series, sorry, for Split 1, Split 2. Barber Motorsports Park will be round number 1. The broadcast will be starting once again at roughly 7:30 p.m. that night, running both splits for the broadcast as well. The MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship returns once again Wednesdays next season, which I don't have the schedule for, so I can't announce round 1, unfortunately. The next season, though, of the Toyota GR86 Nationals for Thursdays returns on May 1st, 2025 as well. Thruxton Circuit will be round number 1. That'll be very interesting once again. The Sunday Supercar season continues, though. That's next up on the ticket for us here in SRW, with our next round taking place this upcoming weekend, the 13th of April, out at Winton for a normal round. We then have 2 weeks off. The weekend of the 20th is for Easter. The week after is for a Scops round. We return for that series after this upcoming weekend for the 4th of May for our Bathurst Enduro event as well. And then we continue on through that series, which has been running across Season 1 and Season 2 here in SRW. But for the final results, I don't know if it's to anyone's surprise after we know what was on offer pretty much. But in saying that, GSRC
There they
has
are.
taken the win. 534 points to 335 points. Marcus Watson takes the win. We've got the top 29 cars on the top on the ticket there for you, and how they finished out. And you can see that, I mean, inside the top 10, 3 SRW cars inside of the top 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 SRW cars in comparison to 16 GSRC cars. So that's pretty much where the wins come from for the GSRC. But an incredible night of racing once again, as I said, here for SRW and GSRC too. I do apologise, as I said, for the tech issues and then the scrambling to get something on screen. Sometimes, it's live TV, it happens, and we have to make a decision on the fly and try and get something going for us as well. But I mean, an incredible effort from both sides of the ticket for SRW, for the likes of Mazzaroli and Sinise and Davison to get inside the top 10, and then for Watson, Chapman, Dial, and Leach to make it a 1, 2, 3, 4 for GSRC is an incredible effort from them. One where, hopefully next season our drivers can improve across this season in the SFLs, and they can come back stronger for the next running of the AWN, and we can bring another fight to the GSRC once again as well. But I mean, it's this is becoming such a special event now at this point that it's becoming unmissable pretty much. Whether it's a viewer or a driver, they're fighting to get into the position to be able to race in this event.
And that's fueling both leagues in terms of the bums on seats for those series, because there are qualification criteria in place, and that is terrific to see. That because of this event, both those leagues are thriving. Both offerings are producing scintillating racing week in, week out. The end product that we get here with the Australian Open World Nationals is a fair reflection of that. The only thing that I will say, there are 3 things on the way out. I need to mention what the Tuesday night offering is. It's non-broadcast. That's probably why. But it's Downforce Legends, and it's totally new car for the Downforce Legends too, by the way. And then what I affectionately refer to as Titanic CR, touring car racing, TCR, is back on the agenda, back on the platforms of the GSRC. There will be a broadcast night for that. That will be, of course, week 10 grand final week. But yes, it is back on the platforms of the GSRC. I had to get that saddle drive-by in. And Scott Jordison is still apologising to Jeff Adams at this point in time, and will be, I dare say, for the foreseeable future. But no, the great success of this event is testament to both clubs, Hamish, testament to all involved, all that have produced the entertainment on track, not just what we do here in the commentary box, but the guys that put the show on the track, that then, starts the conversation. People want to get involved. People want to join in. People then have to go through and race in the leagues. It's a very good thing we've got going here, and I hope it remains that way for the foreseeable future. And full props to you as well, mate, for producing the broadcast. It pays to have B-roll. Tonight proved why. But at least we were able to stay on air right throughout that moment. But yeah, I guess it's not just testament to the clubs as well, and obviously the incentive, the carrot dangling that is, come and get involved here so that you can get the golden ticket to go there. It's also testament to this race car, and it's not found its mark in Australia in the real world scene. I mean, we've got too many categories here anyway, in the real world equivalent. But the testament to the car and what it brings to the table, and the quality that it produces in terms of the spectacle, far better than the snore we had on Sunday afternoon. So, no, full props to iRacing for bringing in Super Formula Light. Full credit to the clubs for continuing to offer this series. And then the collaboration effort that is the Australian Open World Nationals. It's always a hoot.
How ironic is it that we have a New Zealand driver win the Australian Open World Nationals? It's quite ironic.
I love it.
That works out, isn't it?
Well, the Kiwis have been dominating the supercars for how long now?
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. They have indeed.
And now they're, of course, doing great things in the US.
That's right. That's exactly right. But if you guys want to get involved in this race, or you at least want an opportunity to get involved in this race, then you need to be racing as a part of the GSRC or SRW throughout the next season. To register for the series of SRW, you go to www.simracingworld.com.au, register as a driver, then pay your subscription as well, and come then register for the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship in our Discord server. For the GSRC, I would assume you register on the website at race.tgrc.com.
SRC iodide cotton. Yep, that's the one. Yep.
So, so you register over on the GSRC website and you go racing with them on the Thursday night. You could even race in both. I mean, they're on different days. So
exactly.
You know,
and we have had Denny Davison pop in and say good day to us during the regular season as well. So, as an example of that,
Benici runs both. People. I know that Sean Benici runs both. I know Brooke does. I mean, he was last season, not this past season, season before's champion. Of the GSRC. So, you know, plenty of drivers have gone in between both series as well. You know, there's a bunch of offerings for the SFLs, but if you want a chance to run in the AWN, you got to race in either of those series or both, and then whichever one you finish higher in, that's the one you represent. So, but I mean, it's been a fan. Oh, I mean, that's what I would do if I finish first. If I finish second in SRW but third in GSRC, I'm representing SRW because I've done better in that series.
Agreed. Although that being said, that maneuver can help or hinder you on the night because you just don't know how it's going to play out here.
Right.
And obviously we've got that fallback as well, Hamish. If we do have cross representation, you nominate one or the other, obviously. But at the end of the day, it all hinges on one night. And if there is, a couple of cross representations, then you guys can go and say, well, to your 21st competitor, and we can too. Welcome to the party. And then we still get that top of that field of 40, don't we?
Well, do we have a cross contamination class then? Someone who races in both.
and the points are evenly divided. I don't know. Maybe. We're shooting ideas and trying to solve the problems of the world at the moment. But I'm just having a look at how difficult the next season is going to be for our Super Formula Light competitors, Hamish. Let me rattle these names, track names off to you. Mobility Resort Motegi, Hockenheimring, Germany, Suzuka, Japan, Nürburgring, Germany, Algarve, Portugal, Silverstone, England, Road America, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps Classic, Hungaroring, and a final round of TBA at this point in time, one of our favourites. So, I mean, that's a European-heavy agenda with one American circuit thrown in for good measure, two Asian circuits thrown in for good measure as well, and one to be determined. That is going to be a very difficult campaign. I mean, we had some cracking races in this season. The two Canadian rounds, Thruxton in England as well, turned it on. Everybody relieved tonight to not see it absolutely tipping down in rain at Phillip Island, and I think it showed. The only thing is, we will probably rue that opening lap where there wasn't a safety car because so many contenders were rubbed out of the game on that opening lap. If we'd had neutralised the field, as they probably would have done in a real-world situation, in fact, they would have thrown the red.
Yeah, it would have been a red flag, probably.
It would have been a red flag, pack up, go home, had we neutralised the field, then it might have invited a few people back in. But, hey, no complaints from us in terms of the overall quality of the product. Yes, the result has gone in GSRC's favour as well, but it just fuels the narrative for the next one because there are still guys there tonight, Hamish, that are now, further craving some opportunity to seek redemption. Yet again, they've, when the main prize has been on the line, when it's all hinged on tonight, unfortunately, it hasn't gone their way. And that, it remains elusive. There are 3 names on that list. Then, and of course, there's room for many more. There's another 3 Australian Open World National hitouts this season. So plenty of room for the SRW boys to seek redemption. Jackson Rayhana, twice he's been a contender and rubbed out of it. So he'll be desperate for some form of crowning glory moment later in the season. But what a night and what a result for Marcus Watson. As I said, he had the form all season just without the luck, and he had more race wins on the board than anybody else. Got caught up in a couple of incidents, obviously had a couple of non-appearances as well, and that non-classified here at Phillip Island. But to cement his status as one of the best in the business at the moment in iRacing at large, that was a fitting way for the evening to end and a very worthy winner.
Yeah, I think he was the best on the night. Arguably the top seeded driver coming into the event as well. So it's very rare that we get that happening, but it's one that often pays dividends for a league to have someone so good. We're waiting for Phil Vella to come and represent SRW just to give the test to the GSRC. But just to give a quick shout out to all the series sponsors of SRW, once again to Warren and Brown Tools for their support of the Tuesday Night Fiat Supercars Series, Sunday Night Fiat Supercars Championship, as well as I mentioned, the next round of that series is upcoming Sunday night, 13th of April, 2025, starting 7:50 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're out at Winton for that next round, where you see some of the fastest supercars drivers in Australia, like James Scott, Blake Warboys, Ryan Leonards, Jack Andrews, Billy Mole, Ryan Mueller and co, battling it out for glory out at Winton. To MOZA Racing for their support of the Wednesday Night Super Formula Championship and for coming on board as the title sponsor of the Australian Open Wheel Nationals as well. Big thank you to them. As well to our other series sponsors, Shunt Scenery, Grim Industries, home of the VR Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video's Top Gear Australia during the news, interviews and other studio segments, and to Phoenix Driver Development. Be sure to message PDD on Facebook if you're interested in getting yourself some supercars training or even some setups as well. You can also message Rehan or Laz Leonage on Discord. They'll be sure to find you a time slot or a setup for just your needs. Absolute legends. But that's it from me. Zach, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Except to say, again, well done to you and the crew for making it happen, mate. Always a pleasure to jump in and do play-by-play with you. Well done to the GSRC, 534 to 335 victors, so 199 points in the end. That margin will be much smaller next time round, I'm sure. No, it's been a great night, been a great week. I mean, you mentioned all the sponsors, couldn't do it without them. We ticked that box earlier on the platforms of the GSRC. Hope you enjoyed it at home. Enjoy what's left of this week. Don't forget Liam Banks deputises for me on Monday night, filling in for me with Adam Lavis whilst I'm off being introduced to nephew number one. I've had niece number one around for 9.25 years already, so now I very much look forward to about 3 years' time, Hamish. There's about 2 boxes worth of Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars that are going to be dropped off at his mother's place, and I'll be like, they're all yours. I don't need them anymore. I'm not having a kid of my own, or at least it doesn't look like it unless pigs start flying, but it'll be a case of offload all that. The old hand-me-down system, it works a treat. Thank Christ Mum and Dad have great storage here in Cessnock, and actually thanks to the folks too, because they let me hijack the shed to not just broadcast radio this week, but also jump in and do the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. And thanks to everybody that tuned in at home as well. Looking forward to the next one, which will be in about 12 weeks' time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, about 12 weeks' time or so, maybe even 14 weeks, who knows, but it's going to be a massive season to come up for the GSRC and for SRW as well. We appreciate everyone's time. Appreciate you all being here with us. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like, and the bell icon too on the SRW channel, as well over on the GSRC channel as well. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here with us. I'm Hamish Munro, who's been joined by Zach Caban and Josh Zuino of the GSRC here this evening. We appreciate your time. We'll see you guys next time. I'll see you guys Sunday night with Sinker for the Warren and Brown Tools Fiat Supercars Championship. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.